Go. Many years ago, there was a little action figure called Little George. And this little action figure was in hands of many famous athletes and people. But then this action figure became a man, and his name is George. We knows that George hates fun, and every week spend the time in a podcast that's not a podcast. And now he's a full-timer member of the Horsemen Studio. And tonight, the little George is an even bigger George, and he's my guest. Welcome to the show, George.
That has to be the best intro I've ever received in my life.
I hope that is not the only one, because if he's the only one, there's nothing to compare this.
I've had intros before. I've been on a couple shows, and that no one has compared to that. That tops it all for sure.
Awesome. So the first question is, are you ready for my weird English?
I don't know if I am, but we're gonna give it a shot.
Yes, because remember, I learned English with wrestling. When I was at school back in the day, I was really bad in English. But when I started watching the DVD target classes of the old school, the golden era, so I learned English with the line of Gorilla Monsoon and Jesse the Body Ventura, and they are my teachers in English. So you can understand how good is my English.
Hey, that sounds like a great way to learn it to me. And it's definitely not. It's not specifically you that I can't understand. It's everyone.
Okay, so if you meet someone that is not from US and speaking English, you have some problem.
I really do. I have a good friend that lives over in the UK, and for some reason, like, I can understand him great. Like, we have no problem. I've spent time at his place, and I have no problem with him and his family. But everyone outside of this, everyone outside of him and the family, I have a problem with. Anytime
Okay,
we have visitors over, because we do a convention, or I used to do a convention in LA called Designer Con, and there would be, people from all over the place come into that show, and it constantly I have to listen so carefully to get it, and I feel stupid because they're speaking English. You're speaking you're speaking English just fine, but for some reason my dumb ears can't do it.
But I understand this feeling because, for example, I understand really well English from US. But when I hear something, for example, in the other channel that I have is a channel called Wrestling Channel with Alan Magnetti, my channel of wrestling, a big channel, close to 51,000 of subscriber.
Wow.
And I do the live reaction for every WWE show every day. And since last August was also a show called NXT UK. And the broadcaster and also the wrestler are from UK. And their English is so different than the US English.
Yep.
And I need to listen a little bit more to understand than when I listen US, because once again I learned English by the American wrestling broadcaster. So when I listen you, I understand maybe sometimes my English is going crazy because I try to find the good words for the line. Yep. But also the crazy side of that is sometimes, because every day I watch some wrestling in English, I watch a fellow YouTuber in English, I watch movie in English, sometimes I think in English, but my English still bad. So it's really crazy that.
That's awesome. Well, I got to say, you learned at a great time in wrestling. Like, that was like probably early 80s. I was watching that as a kid for sure. Like, I loved wrestling back then.
Yes, it was super cool. Also because if you compare wrestling that time and today, the time everybody was larger than life, including a jobber like Coco Beware or the Brooklyn Brawler, for example. they are so colorful. Everybody was so colorful. Today we have some problem. One is that we have too much cruiserweight without personality. They are very good to jump from one side of the ring to the other one, but they are really, really normal people. Maybe too much good looking. You remember the Bushwhackers under the Giant? They were so ugly, but they had a character because of that. Today, they look like models that jumping in the ring, and this is a problem. Also, the booking is a problem. For example, right now in the WWE, when Vince quit because of the scandal and everything, Triple H now take over everything. And Triple H is so bad to booking a character, to book a storyline. It's just his mission is find a guy, returns after return, sensation, but the story building is really, really, really bad in this moment in WWE.
Oh yeah,
At
I mean
the
the
time was
storyline.
At
The
the time was
storyline was everything in the 80s. I mean, that was what it was all about.
Yes, in the 80s was super cool.
Yeah.
And you told me that you worked also speaking about wrestling action figure. Tell me something about that.
Oh yeah, I did for many years. There was a time when like I would say probably 95% of the wrestlers on the shelf were all sculpted by me and this one other guy. It was a lot of times when we were scanning, so we did a lot of the like going to the wrestling like convention and scanning all the wrestlers and then bringing that data back and working off that. And there was a moment where, because you know how they reuse everybody like 100 times for every character for all the different characters. There was a time when like every figure that was out was me and this other guy sculpting on all of it. This guy Travis did all the heads and I did all the bodies, and it was amazing. Like I loved it because I wasn't still watching wrestling at that time, but I had watched it as a kid, so I was still able to like appreciate it then.
So how works? Tell me more about it. To scan the face to have the perfect likeness, you have you have some tool to do that? What how works?
I mean, it was a while ago. I mean, it was a good, what was that, 20 years ago probably when I was doing that. I have Neil behind me that you can't see him in the chair. He's a buddy of mine. He's going to be my go-to in the background. But it was probably like 20 years ago, and the scanning technology was very different than it is now. It was a lot more it was a little more rudimentary. Like now it's a lot of like camera photography things where they set up cameras all around, but back then it was literally this box that would it was like a giant box with cameras in it, like a laser in it, and you'd have to sit super still and it would go all the way around your head, and it would take 30 seconds to go all the way around your body. And unfortunately, when they were scanning wrestlers, they tended to do it after the wrestling ring, like after their match, because they didn't want to bother them before. So they were sweaty, they were breathing heavy, they were like, it was very hard to get them to sit still. So a lot of the times, by the time the thing goes all the way around them, they've moved, like there's so it was a lot of cleanup work and a lot of like fixing the data, because it was just, the technology wasn't as fast as it is now. Now you could sit in a chair and you just basically click a button and it takes all the pictures at once and you're done. But yeah, it was a different thing. But we also had a full body scanner as well. So they would stand there in a pose and the body scanner would just kind of drop down and it would scan from all four sides at once. And you could get, everything. Their full outfit was there, their complete anatomy, like all the, whatever pose they're doing, if they were doing a pose thing, and you'd have all that data along with like skin mapping and everything if they wanted to use it for video games. But we were just using the 3D scan data for sculpting with. So then we'd go and we did that for like every wrestler from at the time WWE. We did it for, I don't know if you know TNA wrestling. Have you ever heard of that?
Yes, a little bit. Yeah, also because some athletes of the WWE work also on the TNA.
Yeah, I mean I think CM Punk, he came from TNA.
CM Punk, but
yeah.
also some legend like Kevin Nash worked for a while in TNA.
Yep.
And also Jeff Jarrett himself was a former WWE, also WWF superstars.
Yep.
So many athletes work at that. I'm not a super fan of TNA also because my favorite era are the golden era.
Yeah.
I like also the new generation era, so from 1994, 1993 to 1996. And I like also the 70s. I
Oh,
discovered also
nice.
the 70s. And I want to show you something later in the show because I'm a big fan of that. I like the old Hasbro figure, the WWF Hasbro from Action Figures
Yeah, yeah.
wrestling. I like that. I know they are more simple, speaking of articulation, but I like because they capture the cartoonish way of the golden era, especially, and also the beginning of the 90s. And also because if you see today, for example, the big guy in the Mattel line sometimes have the body too slim.
Mm.
I saw the Typhoon figure or Tugboat figure or Earthquake was a really fat big guy,
Yeah.
460 pounds. You can do the same tooling for the body for Earthquake and the another guy like Bredard. It don't work to me.
Yeah.
Doesn't work.
Yeah.
And in the Hasbro, we can find different sizes. So I remember I have Bam Bam Bigelow at the same tooling for the body like Earthquake, but not the same of Yokozuna that is bigger, and not the same the other the Giant. Today, for example, did an awesome job. Zombie Sailor's Toy with wrestling figures.
I don't know that one.
Idea, yes, it's a little company called Zombie Sailor's Toy, and they do some action figure of the golden era too.
Oh, cool.
I know the sculptor because the sculptor is called, his name is Alex Ainke. He's a freelance sculptor. Was 2 times in my show. He worked for Zombie Sailor Story, also for NECA. He worked on the past also with McFarlane. However, this company is really cool, really good. I like that.
I
But
think
today
my
Mattel have good likeness for the face,
Yep.
but something wrong for the choices of the body, in my opinion.
I think my favorite wrestling figures from the past is definitely the LJN line, the big rubber, like the solid rubber, like they're just in a pose and they're just solid rubber. Like that, like we were at a convention this morning and we saw a couple of those there and they were like super played with. You could just tell that like whoever had them loved them as a kid. Like, and I was telling Neil, like I used to like, and I would get a guy with like red boots so I can smash his boots on the other guy's skin and they would leave like red marks on it. And like, they were the best to play with. And we had like, they had that wrestling ring and you can bounce the dudes off of it. Like, yeah, that I just love that solid chunk of rubber in my hand. Like that was a good one.
It was good also because also that one was good. I prefer WWF Hasbro. And by the way, I create on this channel a federation of wrestling with a roster of action figures, and I designed the custom of many of them because in the Hasbro we haven't King Kong Bundy, Big John Studd, or other guys of the 80s. But with my friends, that is a scalper, I create this big roster. There's also a page, and every week there is a stop motion, like an episode with the storyline. No, I create because I try to recreate something, but with a never happen match. No, maybe you can find the jobber that got the titles in my federation. I like that. Like to relive the golden era, new generation era. I mixed that so you can see, for example, a superstar of the 70s like Ace Taxcaloon against Bret Menard. Anything goes. No, and
How
the
long is it?
people
How
like
long does it take you to make an episode?
Yes, episode, I believe, if I count only the shooting and the editing, 90 minutes.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that's
It's not
great.
a long episode. Maybe later I show you one of them
Yeah, please. I'd love to see it.
because I can show you the latest episode because every week a new episode inspired by the Godzilla. So the weekly episodes are Monday Night Raw, Wrestling Challenge, the Superstar of Wrestling, like the old days.
Yeah.
And they do also the pay-per-view, only 5. Survivor, the old one, Survivor Series, SummerSlam, WrestleMania, Royal Rumble is my favorite, still today my favorite,
Yep.
and the King of the Ring tournament.
Oh,
And
nice.
these are the 5 pay-per-views, and the people love it. And it actually was the first collection that I restart as a dual collector.
Oh, really?
Yes, because I started collecting because I was frustrated a little bit about my music work. Because be professional in music, you find many closet doors, many, I can say the word because it's not good word for the people, many bad people.
Yeah.
That, for example, so I was the opera in Italy for important music band, and become popular for that. But the producer, they are upset when you got more popularity than the main musician of the show.
Uh,
So it's not a really good stuff. Also because in Italy the music is a garbage. If you do something original, something good, you're in trouble because the producer are really they don't understand the good music, and they find only something that following a type of market. So to survive of that, I started writing, and then I start to I remember the day that I go to the oh, now I'm in trouble. I need awards, man. What is the last floor of the house under the roof?
the attic.
The attic, exactly.
Yeah.
Attic. Oh, it's similar. In Italian, it's attico, so it's
Ah,
similar.
there you go.
I go to the attic. I open an old box. I saw my old WWF Hasbro blue ring with the figure, and I got this figure, and I discovered at the time. Then later in Italy, not, but worldwide, they made other waves. So I tried to find this figure on eBay, and then wasn't enough to me. So I started to do the custom with my friends, and I built a federation with 300 characters. Looks like,
Wow.
including managers. So I did the custom figure for the Doctor of Style Slack, Jimmy Hart, Bobby the Brain Heenan. So this character, super cool.
That's amazing. Do you have, are there pictures online of your full collection of 300 of them? Like,
Yes, if you go there, also in the description below of every my video, there is many link.
okay.
And also in the information of the channel, there is also the link of my page called My World Wrestling Federation Hasbro. It's
Okay.
my federation of action figure. And on this channel, every week, a new episode, by the way.
Yeah.
In the mix of hundreds of videos they upload on this channel, because this is a channel also of toy news. And you are an insider in this world. You know what that means, because every day comes out new toys from many companies.
Oh, yeah.
And when start a show like Hasbro PulseCon, New York Toy Fair, Comic-Con, I become crazy because sometimes over 14 hours on the channel.
You're a busy man.
Super busy. Also because when I don't do that, I writing. I have a new project related with Mythic Legions, but still a secret project. But it's a project that takes me a long time to do everything, because it's really time-consuming project. Super busy. Also because don't forget that I have also the other channel of wrestling.
Yeah.
And I tell you a little crazy story. Sometimes I do the live stream for a pay-per-view or for Raw or for SmackDown, and the same time I'll upload and promote the video for the other channel for this one. So I work in two channels in the same time, because I haven't the time to do everything.
Oh man, that's crazy. I don't even know how you have time to watch all the wrestling at this point. You're creating so much content.
Yeah, I watch the wrestling because I need to do for the other channels. I do only live reaction in the
Oh,
channel.
so you're
of
watching it
wrestling.
live on the channel. Okay. Yeah, that makes
Exactly.
sense. Wow, that's
Tell me
crazy.
something more about your career in the wrestling, this stuff. Did you work also with some legends at that time?
I mean, the greatest legend is Eric, you know, from the Horsemen. I mean, the stuff that he creates is just, it's been insane since I've known him. I mean, we go back, I worked at McFarlane Toys with those guys. That was one of my first jobs in the toy industry. And yeah, it was like learning under him. There was, you know, we would work all day, and then, you know, because I was more in the molding, casting, fabrication department back then. So it was, you know, I would work all day doing that stuff, and then as soon as I was done, I would go over to his desk and just watch. You know, he had a couch in his area, and I would just sit on the couch, and we would chat and like talk about Pokemon or whatever was, you know, whatever we were watching at the time, and I would just watch him sculpt and, you know, try my hand at it, and he would give me pointers and stuff. And yeah, so like working with him was amazing. And the same thing with Cornboy and Jim. They all three of them were like basically mentors to me at the beginning of my whole career.
Wow.
And so it's great to be like, you know, 20 something years later, come back and then work for them again, you know, and like, you know, working directly under them now, and like for their product, it's a whole different thing. It's great.
I think because it was a part of your destiny, not that.
Right.
Because
I mean, it's amazing to go. Like, I mean, I moved all the way across the country. I moved to California while I was, you know, while we were all at McFarlane. I actually got hired. I got the call from McFarlane about a month and a half after I had moved from the East Coast all the way to California. they're so from New Jersey. They called me and said, "Can you come in for an interview?" And I was like, "Yeah, can I come in at Christmas? I'm coming back." So basically, I had to wait until Christmas basically to go back and get an interview, and they hired me then. And yeah, I was working, 6 months in New Jersey and 6 months in Los Angeles, and then basically for like a couple years did that.
Cool. So I was frozen for a little bit, but I heard everything in my other, because I have other device to control the
Oh, nice.
Jurassic connection in Italy works, because the connection in Italy is so bad. I have this theory in general. I think that the people in general, the life is shaped by destiny. So I think if your destiny is to be a musician, you will be musician in any case. If your destiny is be a designer or work in the toy business, this is your destiny, and whatever you do, you will be that. So, but there is, my opinion, sometimes a turning point, a special moment of the life when you understand your way. Do you remember if there is a moments of your life when you discover your way?
I don't feel like I ever discovered what I was doing. I still don't know what I'm doing. I'm just kind of floating through and doing whatever comes my way.
So when you was a kid, or when you how start everything? Do you remember how start was the first professional job that you got?
I mean, I've never stopped playing with toys.
Maybe
So I
before
mean,
McFarlane?
I think being in the toy industry is definitely like it's definitely where I was probably going to go, because I never, like I said, I never stopped playing with toys. I collected toys since I was a kid. I would never really played with them. I always just wanted to like put them up on a shelf and display them and collect collect everything that was part of it. So it was never like, for me, it wasn't about like technically playing with them. It was more of like displaying them. So I think, and like, just kind of studying them. So I've kind of always just been in that world. I never really left toys. I never had that, what they call like when you collect Lego, they call it like the dark times. I never had that where you stop collecting, I've always bought toys, just never even stopped buying toys. So I think I must have been meant for it. I guess it must have been destiny.
Oh yeah. Now there is some question in the chat, guys. If you have some question, put your question in the chat. In the last 10 minutes, George hates fans but loves talk with you, so he will answer your question. But I want stay. I want go back to the wrestling stuff that you did. When you did this scan for the face for the athletes,
Mm-hmm.
you did also some of that with some wrestling legends back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think who would have been like, who was big at the time was probably like, do you know, like Brock Lesnar was probably big back then. Rey Mysterio was like a real fun one to do. Oh, what's the guy that's in Guardians of the Galaxy now? Drax. What's that guy's name? Batista. Yeah, he was a wrestler back when we were scanning stuff like that. So like it was it was I mean The Rock, Steve Austin was big back then. So there was there was a bunch of them.
So you meet The Rock to do the scan of his face.
Yeah, I mean just very briefly while he sat for the scans, but yeah, like we didn't chat or anything.
Okay. But that's really cool. Meet this guy to works.
Yeah, I mean it wasn't he was still The Rock back then, but he wasn't The Rock he is now.
Yes,
he was
absolutely.
nowhere near as famous.
He's a super movie star. I did some interviews with some wrestlers in the other channel, like Baron Corbin, Carlito, Santino Marella,
Oh wow.
and also Barry Horowitz, guys from the 80s. Barry Horowitz was basically a jobber. Uh, Maybe you don't remember, was a guy that did also sometimes do that on his shoulder when he goes to the ring. Yes, this
For some reason that
typical.
name doesn't.
It's not really popular. Only if you're looking. It's a deep cut. It's a deep
Right.
cut
Yeah.
in the golden era. But was was really good. Was really good because sometimes the people who watch wrestling forgot that the people that made the match is not the guy that goes over, but also the guys that put over the other one. The
Yeah.
job has an important role in wrestling, especially back in the day when it was also they were also guys with personality, not like today, because today sometimes when I watch wrestling today, I hope, please fire these guys, because yes, it's really good to jump to athletic skills, but because it's so agile. But I don't care to see a 170-pound guys in the ring. I want to see guys bigger or charismatic.
Yeah.
I think you remember Roddy Piper, my favorite one.
I sat next to him at a restaurant one time.
Wow.
There's a place called Jerry's Deli out in Los Angeles. It's one of those, famous landmarks that are out there that, it's got the history of all the celebrities going to. And I remember we were there late one night, and Roddy Piper and whoever he was with they were just sitting at a table, and I felt like a little kid again, just like watching. Like I kept just looking over, like watching him, like what's he doing? Like just watching him. I didn't go over. I didn't want to bother him or anything, but yeah, it was awesome just to kind of like see him over there and like know who he is.
Was in my opinion, unbelievable. He wasn't really big, but was big. Speaking of charisma, character was super cool for that. It was very, very good. I want to talk about that now. Tell me something about this. There we go. The guy with the long beard is you, or
Yes,
is a
that's me.
newest member of the ZZ Top?
No, that was me. Neil, that's the picture. I was literally just talking about this picture today. It's really weird you brought that up. I literally just told a story about this man today. That's the guy. The other guy in the picture is a famous horror director named Herschel Gordon Lewis. And this picture was taken at a Fangoria convention that I was early on when we started October Toys. My ex and I, we did a line of zombie minifigures, and so we thought it'd be fun to go to a Fangoria convention, which is like a horror convention, to sell our toys. And this is the guy who we were next to. He was at the table next to us. Nicest dude in the world. Like he was so cool. He like every time there was a lull, if he had a lull in his line, he would talk to us. But I would just listen. Like for me, it was awesome because I would kind of just like lean back and like listen to the people that came up to his booth, because I don't really know him. I'm not a big horror fan. Like I'm not a huge like horror head, but I would kind of just listen to the people that came up to him, and man, everybody loved this dude. He's like an icon in like 70s horror, and it was just really cool to like to be next to him like this. But yeah, that beard, I grew the beard to go to Alaska for a world beard competition.
Wow.
And so actually Neil behind me he came with us. This all involves you, Neil. You should be on this show. Yeah, Neil and a couple of other friends of ours, we went out, and it was in Anchorage, Alaska, in 2009, I think. I'm trying to remember. I think that's right. And yeah, it was oh man, it was so much fun. I grew the beard for just under 2 years.
Wow.
So that's like, with that picture is probably like under 2 years worth of beard growth right there.
And these little figures, because looks like you a little bit, the figures.
Yeah, so I started that that little George there. That was a later version of him. I actually started that early on in 2000, probably 2001, somewhere in there. I was lucky enough to go on tour with Rob Zombie. Do you know who Rob Zombie is? The musician?
A little bit, not so much, but the name sounds familiar.
I was a friend of mine was friends with the guy who did all the effects for Rob Zombie for like his videos and stuff. And we walked into his studio one day. This other guy, Wayne Toth. We walked in to have lunch with Wayne, and he had just gotten off the phone with Rob, and Rob was looking for 2 guys to go on tour to work his, like, he did like puppets and stuff in the stage show, and he was looking for 2 guys to go on tour. So we just walked in the door, and Wayne was like, "Hey, do you guys want to do this?" And that was literally how easy it was. Like that was destiny right there. Like that was like just walking into this amazing opportunity. And I knew we'd be, on this tour, we'd be meeting a ton of different, celebrities and people like that, like, all these like different musicians, like you just know they're all going to be there. So I always wanted to, I want to, when you hand your camera to someone to say, take a picture, the picture always sucks. So my idea was I would make a small figure of me, and that way I can hand me to the person and take the picture myself, so the picture comes out the way I want it to. So that's how Little George was born, out of that, basically. And I
So
carried it
it's the
around.
reason why I put Little George also in the song, because I scroll your Instagram page
Yep.
today. I saw Little George in different version. So
Yep.
I saw in real life George had fun back in the day, because it was nice, was idea, was really cool.
The George Hates Fun thing, I keep telling everybody they just spelled the name Chris wrong. Chris is not spelled F-U-N. It's really George Hates Chris.
And Chris is with us in the chat tonight.
Oh yeah, there he is right there.
We have some familiar face in the chat, so thank you guys. But back on track, you did many different stuff. What is your favorite one, if that you did so far?
As far, like, it's hard to say. Like for the stuff that I've made for myself, like for my own company, I really love the minifigure line that we did. It was called OMFG, and it stood for Outlandish Minifigure Guys. And that was we had a really great community. I did a podcast for about 10 years, from 2006 to 2016, and we had built up a really great community of people and artists. And we had a forum online. This was before Facebook kind of took over and ruined forums. And we had a really great group of people, and we decided to do this line of minifigures based on like everybody can be a part of it. So like we had a contest basically where everybody would submit designs, and then everybody would vote on their favorite, and we would pick 5 each time, and then we did a Kickstarter for each one. And we basically funded, like, we did this community run project, and we like, it was a blast. Like it was like I was it wasn't like this giant money thing where I was like, we weren't making a ton of money doing it. We were just doing it for the community and having fun with it. So it was like, it always paid for itself, and we always were able to keep going with it. So it was like, it was great. We did four series. Artists from all over the world were involved in it, and yeah, it was really fun to do.
I like this idea to build a community of artists, and the best things for everyone becomes in figure form. It's really cool. Is this concept?
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of fun, and it was, every time we would do it, the artist would get, an exclusive version of their figure in a certain color, and we voted on all that stuff. And it was, I mean, it's hard to do an open community voting project, because everyone always, like, eventually squabbling happens. People always think someone's cheating. People always think someone's rigging the votes, or like, it's all, there was a lot of headache to it. It was a lot of work, but in the end, I think it came out really great. And we did, I guess, 4 series with 5 in each series, so like 20 figures, and then there was a couple of extra bonus figures in there. So we did probably about 24, 25 figures in total. So it was fun. It was a good run, a project.
And now, what happened with this company, with your company of toys?
That was my now ex-wife. We had that company together. So when we got divorced, we just dissolved the company. We just kind of like ended it. We still have the molds, like we still have those, like all of the the tooling exists in China, because it was all actual production in China. It was real plastic, real toys. And all that stuff still exists, so we could go back to it if we wanted to, or I could. She left that all behind, but there's we had so many colorways at each run, like there wouldn't be a need to go back to it at this point, but to continue it someday would be really fun.
Yeah, so maybe I do a 2.0 version by yourself without other.
Yeah.
You can rebuild this idea in another way.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. I mean, we had another project that we did. We had gotten the license for Skeleton Warriors, and we did one figure called Baron Dark. And when we did Baron Dark, we set it up to we set it up so that there was like a regular skeleton figure. Chris. Uh, we set it up so that there was a regular skeleton figure in the mold. So when the license for Baron Dark was done, we just put the Baron Dark parts to the side, and we had our basic skeleton that we can keep running. And so I have run that a few times since the closing of October Toys. I just did it under Double G Toys, my new company name. And so that one had continued a bit, and I hope to go back to that at some point. And because I didn't make too many colors of that yet, and I really like that figure, and it's fun to make. So it's been like that's another one that's that'll continue eventually as we go.
So finger crossed for more for that.
Yeah, I think there'll definitely be more eventually of that. Everything kind of, all my own personal work kind of came to a screeching halt when a couple years ago when the world ended, and we also had a baby at the same time. My current wife Jessica and I had a baby. So everything kind of got put on hold. Everything else was a little bit less important than that.
Yes. I haven't kids, but I can't understand what that means, because it's important moment of the life, that one.
Yeah.
I think that if you got a kids, that change your life and also the perspective of your life, I believe.
And really it's just takes up all of your time. Like there's not really, you don't have the free time that you had before to make things, and you can't just go down to the basement and work on stuff. It's like there's a life that needs your help.
I understand that is one of the reasons that I never want be a father, because if I will be a bad father, because I'm too busy for my stuff. I'm too busy for my heart. I have just the time to follow my dog, not a kid. So it's just a busy have a dog, because I have a pug, a little dog.
Yeah.
And this to me is enough. A kids is no problem for that, Chris, because I watch cartoon also without kids, and my girlfriend sometimes says that me are a kid myself because I watch too many cartoons.
Yeah, now I just have to tell my kid what cartoons to watch. That doesn't change anything. Tell me, does your dog have a wrestling name?
No, my dog is called Charlie. Charlie, the name.
Charlie, come on. Should have some kind of
I
wrestling
don't know why,
name in
because
there.
it was an inspiration. Maybe because before this one, I had a British Bulldog. And the name of the British Bulldog was Peter. But when this British Bulldog started to become old, a little bit sick, I don't know why I got these images in my mind. My future dog will be a pug, and his name will be Charlie. I don't know why. There's no reason.
That's awesome.
But I think the most important things is that in the life have no reason. We do something that we don't know why.
Yeah.
When I start to be a musician, my only idea is to be a musician, a popular musician. I never wondered at the time that in the future you will, if myself, I go to my old version of myself, I go in the past, and says, "Hey, little Alan, hey, young Alan, you know that now you are a YouTuber of toys, of wrestling, and a writer." And my old version will say probably, should say, "You are crazy. I'm a musician. I'm so popular. I don't care about this stuff." No. So the life is really crazy, because the destiny once again put you in the right direction probably.
What's what type of musician were you going for? Like was piano your music?
I start you need to study or listen, just you mean listen or study? Because
for me?
when no me I try to understand better your question. You mean the music that I love, or the music that I play, or the
no,
music?
like when you saw like when young Alan saw future Alan, what kind of musician did you want to be?
Musician that got all the arena for my show, because my concert are really was really today. I don't do too much this stuff because I'm too busy in this new stuff. But was a special concert with was a show. So with actress, model, musician, all musicians were female. So only female violinists, female dancer, and every of these person in the show had a character. So the show is a story. Myself was the main character, and the other side character were these girls for different rules. And for every song, for each song, I change my outfit. So in the end of the song, I go to the backstage and change my outfit. So it was like more theater than the music show a little bit. So
Well, I'll
my
tell you,
name
I want to see this show. I want this to happen.
on YouTube there's something, but the songs are in Italian, man.
That's okay. I can listen to Italian and just enjoy the
If
music.
you want,
and show.
I can sing you my most popular Italian song.
Yes, I want to hear it.
Okay, guys, there's no translation for that. However, the title.
So somebody asked if I got a trophy while I was there.
Wow, but this trophy was for the beard.
This was a outside of the world championship. There was a local show that we did as well, and I got a second place for my my color beard.
But why you cut the beard? It's like a championship. The champions that get his championship belt and put away his belt.
I could grow it back at any time. I'd like to change it up. I change my beard constantly. Like it has like I'm all right changing it. Like the biggest thing is I hate it being anywhere near my mouth, and so it was in my mouth all the time. I couldn't eat a sandwich, and I like sandwiches.
I respond to this comment. Man, Saturn score. We will do that later in the last minutes of the show. All the answer will get all the question will get the answer. So don't go away. Stay right here because you will get your answer later. Because now there is a conversation between me and George.
But we stopped your music. We got to get back to that song. Let's hear that song first.
The name of the song, the translation of the title is The Fly of Phoenix. The phoenix is a mythological bird that over hundreds years rebirth and die into the fire. Yep. The phoenix, no? In Italian is Il volo della fenice. I sing this song in Italian, obviously.
That's fine.
Raccogli i tuoi silenzi e fanne un'ambizione. Potresti pentirti di essere stato innocente. Non esitare e non indugiare. Protesi come foglie nel vento i tuoi argomenti. Ascoltami, ti prego, le tue parole sono solamente condizioni migliori. Io sono un istante, un segno impreciso, tracciato casualmente nell'immenso irreale. Hey, yeah. Ho bisogno di sapere, di volare da qui. Non ricordo cos'è il tempo, lo confondo così. Io non so. Thank you guys, also for your friend in the backstage.
I want to show Neil real quick. There he is sitting back there.
Hey Neil, how you doing? I'm not sick, but I don't know why. When I sing, I need to clean my nose. It's weird, I know, but...
That's why you'd be changing your clothes right now. So you'd have to go backstage, you blow your nose, you change your clothes, you come back out, you'd be ready to go.
Exactly. I change. Maybe I put something too heavy because now I say I feel hot now because everything is not really hot or cold. It's in the middle now where I live.
Yeah, it's kind of like that here.
In North Italy, in a little town between a castle, a forest, So is Mythic Legions also outside? Speaking of the, if you, I don't know if you watched the Mythic Legion song that they did with Shartimus Prime. The location of the videos of this song
Yeah,
were near my house with ruins, castle, everything.
amazing. Yeah,
So
Joe from the shop just showed me your location. He brought it up the other day and showed me where you live, and I was just it's breathtaking. Yeah, it's amazing. No wonder
yes,
why
it's
you're so inspired to write music, sing songs.
yes, for writing also, it's really quiet town. So when I go, because every day I do a little trip with my pug, 1 hour before to start my, when I wake up, 4 p.m., sometimes 5 p.m. or 6 p.m., because I go to sleep in the morning. When I wake up, I go to this 1 hour trip with my dog in the yard with the trees outside, the mountains, everything is quiet to
Wow.
recharge me, no?
Yeah,
Because
that
then
sounds
I restart later to work 12 hours for the channels. So it's crazy.
that
How
yeah,
much
that's
time do you spend for your job every day, man?
uh well, as Chris said on the last show, we work a hard 7 hours every day. No, we do a a standard work day at the shop. Um, I mean, there were this it depends on, like, right now, this month leading up to GCon, is going to be a little bit more hectic. I've been putting in, staying a bit later at the shop and getting more things done, but on a normal week, we just put in regular work hours. But yeah, it's this job is a little more stable. Like the last gig I had, before we moved out here, when I was still out in LA, as Neil knows, like, we worked in we both work in special effects shops, and those jobs are, you could be there
You
what
prefer live in LA or where you
20
live right
hours.
now?
Uh you know, I love LA. I loved LA. I lived there. I moved there in 1997. And I loved being there, and it just steadily got um I'd say the last probably like five or so years, it just kind of got gross. Like, it was filling up with, like, just bad people seemed to be around. Like, I
Okay.
don't know, there was something about the environment was changing. And, like, I mean, it sounds terrible to say I, like, hate the homeless. No, I mean, no one wants them living in their yard, but, like, it got to the point. I mean, we were walking around human excrement on the sidewalk. It's just like, you don't want to live in that. That's not it's
Yes.
not where, like, I should, like, we literally watched a guy poop as we were walking home from my studio one time, and it's like, I don't want to walk down the sidewalk and have to watch a guy poop, or raise Elliot in it. Yeah, like, like, it's just, it's having a baby, and you can't go out in the yard because there might be human feces.
That's
That's
not
not
good.
that's that's not great.
Also, in the big city in Italy, there is the same situation. It's not really safe be in some street. Also in the because in about 1 hour with trains, there is a big city
Yeah,
here. And in some street are not really good. No, you see some people that you maybe you don't want meet with this, hang out with these guys. I don't like the big city in general.
yeah,
If you want go to dancing in a disco, okay,
right.
to have some fun in the nights, okay, but I prefer live in a quiet, in a more natural place because in the nature you find yourself, you find the reality of yourself. In a big city, you forgot in this big noise, you forgot something, and sometimes you become more is more stressful also because it's not natural, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I mean, when I was younger, it was fine. Like, I could ignore it, or I can work around it. But as I got older, I realized like it's just not the where I wanted to live anymore. And then this opportunity with, with the Horsemen came up, and it was like, you know what, this is, when am I going to ever get this opportunity? Something like this where I can know I'm going to work with friends, and I have my, I was born and raised about an hour, a little over an hour from here. So my parents are here. My family is mostly around this area. So it was just kind of like, it just made sense to go. And the funny thing is, my brother, he had moved to San Francisco, and at the same summer that we decided we were moving back, he also moved back, and
Oh,
so now
okay.
he lives about an hour away, and he's in Connecticut, and so we kind of both came back at the same time, and it just kind of worked out. It was like fortuitous that
Was
we
a
all just came
family
back.
reunion, a family reunion.
Yeah, it was. So yeah, it was nice. It was it was meant to be, I guess.
What is the reaction of the people that are not collector about your job, about your passion for toys? Because to me, for example, it's not easy. I honestly, beside the guy that I meet, that I become friend with this channel, like these guys were like you for the studio, or like my fellow YouTuber Shatimus Prime. Now we are close friends, but in real life, I have no friends that collecting toys, so they watch me like a weird guy. When someone see my toy room, because I
Yep.
have this house is on 3 floor. In the first floor, it looks like a basement a little bit because it's in one side there is also the garden. However, is full of play set. I create this big chess game with Mythic Legions, different collections. So I have this big diorama sculpted in a wall made by my father. So
Oh
it's
wow.
really cool, unique. But for a guy that doesn't collect figures, looks like weird or maybe crazy. So what is the reaction of your friends that are not collector about something that you love?
I can honestly say I don't think I have any friends that aren't collectors. I
Okay.
don't know, like I don't know, like, right? I mean, in LA especially, it's the community that I was a part of out there, like in our friend base. It was all kind of built around either the people I work with, who, if you're working in art, you're probably collecting stuff, and if it wasn't the people I was working with, it was people that I had met through my podcast, which was a toy podcast. So between the two of those groups of people, it was everyone I know was a collector. Moving back here, it's funny because the people that I work with now, most of them don't care or like the stuff that the people in LA like. It's a very different, like, the people in LA they're not action figure people. They were designer art toy people. So like I had a very different group of friends, and the things we collected was very different. So I come back here, and guys like Cameron at the shop, he sees the things I collect, and he thinks I'm an idiot. Like he's like, "You're crazy. Like this thing is stupid. Like I don't understand it." Like I tried to bring jobs into the studio from like the people that I was working with, and I think Cameron wants to kill me. Like he hates me on a daily basis when I bring in the work there, because it's not anything like, it's not Mythic Legion style at all. It's very like can you pass me that bunny that's up there? I don't have much out yet because I still really haven't unpacked my studio, as you could see by these cases back here. But like, this is the kind of stuff that we were making, that I'm making out there, where it's,
Mm.
this is an artist who created this character, and I sculpted for him, like turning his art into 3D, and it's definitely not. This is not a Mythic Legion style
No,
thing at all. So it's,
total different stuff.
yeah, it's very different. So it's, it's just a different world, but it's still everyone I know is, they're collectors of something of some sort, for sure. Like, so I don't know. I don't really come across. I mean, I guess my family, but I've gotten them into collecting too. Like, my mom has all my little minifigures on a shelf, and my dad was buying my Gwins when I was making custom, like these little things we called Gwins. And yeah, it was, they've all, and my dad was a collector when I was growing up. My dad he collected records. So
Okay.
like, and my mom had a collection of these weird miniature little ceramic frogs. I can remember when I was little. So
So,
it was like,
so it's genetic for
yeah,
you.
it definitely is. It definitely came from a line of collectors. My dad for sure definitely had a ton of things he collected.
Cool.
Now he collects pens. He loves and he's got these pens that are super expensive, and he's getting older, so he keeps telling me like, don't just throw it when I die, don't throw these away. Like, these are worth money. And he's like, I'll write down what they are. Like, so like, yeah, he's still collecting. Like, it's just different things. I think
My
everybody
dad
collects
was a
something.
collector too, my dad, because he collect guitars, other stuff, books, also, and also I don't know what is the name in English, the stuff that they use the scientists to watch the micro, I don't know what is the name in English, the instruments that you use to watch the stuff that we have inside of our body, the
Oh, like
scientists.
microscopes?
Microscopes. It's almost the same. In Italian, it's microscopio, microscopes.
Yeah, there you
Exactly.
go.
He had a lot of this stuff.
Oh, wow.
He had a lab with this stuff, and he sometimes he discovered some problem before the doctors. Was genial in that stuff. I was a collector too. So he understand at the time a lot my passion of collecting.
Was he
But
was
then
he a musician too? Is that why he collected guitars?
was a musician, but my brother is a musician too. So my cousin is not really good, but she's singing. I prefer don't hear her when she singing because she's not really good, but she think to be good and go on stage and do little concert, crappy concert, in my opinion. But
Oh no, I hope she's not watching.
no problem. Also because she doesn't understand English, so we are safe.
Safe, nice.
My girlfriend started to learn English because she stayed with me and watched with her video after video in English. I told you, remember, if in the future we will go to New Jersey to hang out with these friends and go to Legions, you will be with me. So you need to start to learn the name of the figures of Mythic Legions. Come on.
Hey, even I don't know the names of the figures in Mythic Legions.
I know the name of each figure that I have in my project because I create my series of top motion also too for Mythic Legions. I create that start with a huge chess game.
Wow.
And the board chess is like 5 feet 11 inches or maybe close to 6 inches wide. It's really big. And
How do you
because
keep that in your house?
my house is really big and the toy room is big. You can on this channel there is a toy room tour. Every year I do a new toy room tour to show this big room looks like small and smaller because it's really full every year more. So I think you understand. So you understand really well. This line that I did, it was really awful, but you are able to understand what I mean. So it's good. So you have no problem with me. My English is really sometimes going crazy and start to put everything in the same phrase. And the weird thing is when I rewatch myself sometimes, when I do the editing for the reviews, I cut a lot of stuff because I put something that doesn't work. No. Because the only problem when I do the editing for my review is my English. Wow, I don't understand why in that moment I speak so bad because I understand the English. I understand the good way. For example, when you talk, I understand everything. I like to see to listen something that I know. But when I start to speak in English, sometimes I do some mistake. However, no problem because I think. Like Brian Flynn, but by the way, Brian Flynn is the guy that started this show.
Really?
Yes, the first episode in 2020 was with Brian Flynn. Today we are about episode. I need to watch because the number is not my episode 64 today with you.
Nice.
And Brian was in 5 episodes. It was the first one that trusted my show. And breaking news, guys. If you follow this channel, you know that G.I. Joe as Protein was to time in my show and save the date on November 7 on 3 p.m. Eastern. The Transformers as Protein will be on my show. So it's another big interview that will be on my show.
Oh, it's awesome.
But Brian was the first one, and he told me, Alan, no problem. Your English is better than my Italian. Yes, but he doesn't speak English, so he doesn't speak Italian, no?
Yeah,
So
no, he doesn't speak at all.
you speak something Italian, some words?
No.
Nothing.
Bellissimo, is that what you said? Neil said bellissimo.
I can tell you how you can present yourself in Italian. You can say that. To say my name is George, you need to say il mio nome è George.
No,
Try.
not gonna happen.
That is easy. Come on. Is instead to say my name is, you need to say il
Il
mio
mio
nome
nome
è
è
George.
George. I got that part.
Rewind. Il mio nome è George.
Il mio nome è George.
Perfect. You're Italian now.
Yes. Ask me again in 5 minutes. I'll forget every word of it, except for the George part.
No, not because it's the first time. But if you start to watch like I do for English, to watch something in Italian that you like, you learn Italian like I learn English.
You know,
Because now I
I've heard that before. I have a friend out in LA who was he was from China, and he learned English by watching the Power Rangers.
Okay.
And I thought about that a lot. Like, if I was to go to another country and just watch their TV, and he just said he put the subtitles on and he watched the show, I honestly don't think that would work I don't think my brain would even know how to comprehend that.
Okay.
I really don't understand how you did it. It's fascinating to me. Like, the fact that you did that by watching wrestling and trying to, and like, I honestly have no idea how you did it. Like, it's an amazing thing that you've done to learn that.
For example, when I watch movie, the English in movie is a little bit more complicated than a wrestling match,
Right.
or when you listen someone that talk about toys. Because in a movie, like in literature, they try to be more on a next level on English, no, to be
Right,
better.
Yeah.
But when
Right,
I saw some movie in English, I prefer watch without the subtitles because I don't like the subtitles. I want my learn about English is like an instinct. No, sometimes I discover that I know many words in English because when I think about it, maybe for example, for microscope we talked before, I had this word in my brain, my
Right.
mind, but I thought that was wrong, but wasn't wrong. And many times happened that. So I think that I know English, but when I start to talk, something going crazy, like a two line that try to cross each other.
Yeah. Well, and you're not trusting your instinct. You knew it, but you doubted yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect. You in few words, you understand my situation with English. Tell me something about your podcast.
Yeah, I mean, it was great. We, at the time we started it, it was early 2006. It was about February of 2006, and we were looking. Podcasting was kind of new. I think the iPhone was brand new. Like, there wasn't really like podcasting just wasn't really out there. So we were looking for shows to listen to that were about toys, and there was the only one that was really out there that we could find was a show called Big Kev's Geek Stuff. And it wasn't really all about toys. It was about all of the geek culture. And so we were like, you know what, let's do it. Why don't we try it? It took convincing me. I didn't want to do it at first. And it was probably not until about November of that year that we actually put it all together, shot a video, and we decided to do a video instead of an audio because it was we were talking about toys, so it was going to be a visual thing. We didn't want to sit there and describe what a toy looked like. We wanted to be able to show you, like, in our hand, the size of the toy and like what it looks like and what is this thing and how big is it? Because when you look at pictures of toys online, you have no idea how big they are. It's deceiving. So one of the things we wanted to do was be able to show people what it actually looked like while we talked about it, gave our opinion, our review. And it kind of just went from there, and we kind of after a couple years of doing it, like we started to build an audience, and like it wasn't, it was definitely not right away. It took some time to get people watching and get people into it. And at the time when we started, it wasn't on YouTube because YouTube wouldn't allow videos that were longer than like 9 minutes when we first started. YouTube was brand new, so we used a different broadcasting system, like a different I think it was called Blip TV or something like that, and we would upload our video to that, and we had the Blip player on our website, and it was very different than I wish we would have had a YouTube show like this where we could just broadcast live for however long, and it was nothing like that. It had to be edited. The whole thing was like took so much time and like hours of editing and putting it up. Luckily, I didn't do any of that work. I literally would just come to the couch, we would shoot the show, and then I would be done. And then my current ex would she did all that like other stuff, like because that's what she really wanted to do was the show. So she did all the editing, she did all the website, she put it all up online, and I didn't have to do any of that. If it was up to me, it would never have happened. Kind of the way Chris and I are, where he does all the work on our show and I just show up and sit there for a half hour. Similar to that.
Okay.
But
So at the time you was a pioneer on the podcast.
I mean, I would definitely not a pioneer. I mean, we weren't like setting any boundaries or breaking any barriers down or anything, but like, yeah, it was definitely early on in the days of doing it. 2006, there wasn't too much out there at the time, and it actually really grew. It was really fun. We got to the point where we were doing just as like a because we didn't have like ads, and we weren't making money on the show. Like we would just occasionally someone would send us a toy, like we would get a free toy here or there, but we weren't like really like monetizing the show in any sense. It wasn't like now where you can get ads for your videos and things like that. We didn't have any of that. So once a year we started doing a 24-hour live marathon where we would, and we had to do it on, what was the name of it was called Ustream. There was a service called Ustream, and it was still, I don't think at the time, I don't think YouTube was doing live shows yet. And so we would broadcast live for 24 hours, and we basically would open because we shot in my apartment. So we would open up the door to people like in our community that wanted to come in, and somebody would come over at 9:00 at night. Somebody would come over at midnight. Somebody would come over at 2 a.m. Like whatever time they were out and wanted to stop by, they would just come over. And there was three of us at that time, would be there. We'd be broadcasting. It was like a big party, and we would somebody would 6 o'clock in the morning. There was an artist named Mr. Toast, and he would come by with a box of donuts, and he would, come in, and he would sit on the couch and get interviewed. And those are probably my favorite
rock and roll experience.
Yeah, like those were my favorite episodes. It was just so much fun to have all these people come in. Like one year we had this artist named Sket who we were friends with, and these names probably mean nothing to you because you don't know that world, but like this guy, he came in to the house or to the apartment, and he was with a guy named Tristan Eaton who we had never met, but Tristan Eaton was the guy who designed and created the Dunny, which is the little rabbit character that Kid Robot made, and that's huge in our scene. And so Sket comes in and brings his friend who's Tristan Eaton, and we got to interview the guy that created this figure that everybody knew, and it was amazing. It was like things like that, like this opportunity like that was, I mean, like kind of what you're doing, where you're having guys from the industries come on, and you're getting to meet these heroes of yours that are creating toys that you love. It's amazing, right? Like,
yes, especially when I do an interview with William Stout, the designer.
Oh yeah.
He's an awesome guy with many stories also about Hollywood. He told me some fun story with David Lynch or with Arnold Schwarzenegger because he worked with Conan the Barbarian. He did the Motu movie. He worked many different stuff. 2 hour and a half each episode because he's a guy that talks about his art.
Yeah.
We find also some connection because when you talk with another artist, because every artist also, if they are in different parts of world and in different type of art, they have something in common because the artists have something similar. Also, if they are so different in speaking of the way or they put their talent. So if you're a musician, designer, writer, or if you are from US, Italy, China, whatever. But if you're an artist, when you meet another artist, you find a connection. It's something magic. I discovered that with this channel, for example.
I could see that. I went and got an autograph from William Stout at one of the he does a show every year called Monster Palooza. He's at that one, right? You remember him being there, William Stout? I believe that. Like, I think it was at Monster Palooza. Yeah, I got that guy's autograph. He's a legend of that stuff. Yeah, for sure.
Also, he did this big murales of dinosaurs. He's famous also for that.
Yep.
He go to Alaska to do some research, do different stuff. He has an unbelievable life with totally different experience as an artist. He's really super cool artist.
Yeah, that's cool.
He's a legend, but also he's so humble in the same time. He's so sensitive. He understands when he find a connection. He's really a guy that understands. If he told me, I remember in one interview in the end, he told me, Alan, we are so similar. He told me that. It was a good improvement to me. No?
How do you, if you don't mind me asking, how do you find your guests? Like, how do you book? Like, how did you book William Stout on your show?
I contact him because there is a website that I was lucky enough to get an answer. Also because he did other interviews before.
Oh, okay.
Like I did an interview with Anthony DeLongis. That was the actor that played Blade character in Master of the Universe movie.
Uh-oh, froze up. We're frozen, everybody. We'll be back.
Okay, I'm here or I was frozen for a while.
Oh, you're okay. There you go. You're back.
It was so depend of the guest. In general, I try to contact, but also because now I have a good resume on this channel show. Because I did interviews with people with different brands, different stuff, different things. So because of that, like in the music, I did many collabs with different popular musicians in Italy. But because everyone that comes in my music album, so that there is another famous artist do something for me. So when you got one, you got two, it's like a chain, no?
Yep. Yeah, makes sense. I mean, I'm gonna try and get Neil here to do it with you because he's got. I mean, he's a musician himself, so when I would when he gets home, I want to have him get on your show because Neil's got some great stories as well. So
we can do a trio the next time. A trio.
Exactly.
So you will be the now I forget the words once again. The connection. You will be the connection between him and you. Also me and him. During the
I'm going to link that one up, and we're going to have Neil tell some stories of his career. And then he can play a little guitar with you playing piano. Yep, that's
should be cool. With, for example, with Shartimus playing, when we do a show together, I play piano, he play drums together, and we do a song.
I got to tell you, here's a little story about Shartimus. I met him once. He's a great guy. It's my least favorite name to ever say. I don't like. I don't want to say Shart. I don't want that anywhere near my name. Like I can't understand why he wants that name.
I don't know. Maybe Big Prime. Remember Transformers.
The prime part I have no problem with. It's just the first part.
He can call him Russ because his real name is Russ.
That sounds better. I'm gonna call him. How about Russ Prime? I'm gonna go with Russ Prime.
With him, we find a good connection. We are similar also in our career as a musician. And we found out that if we find out that last time we do a show together, he's an awesome guy. I love Shartimus.
Yeah, I got to meet him at PowerCon this year.
Yes, I know he was there. He told me that.
Yep, he was hanging out with.
PowerCon was many people that I know because he was the guy for the studios. Was Pixel Dan was 2 times in my show. Yep. Was Shartimus and many guys related with Moti that was in my show before. Also, Emiliano Santa Lucia is the correct pronunciation is Emiliano Santa Lucia, But you in English says Emiliano Santa Lucia, but the real pronunciation is Emiliano Santa Lucia. He's from Sicily, the North Italy,
Oh, nice.
South Italy. Sorry. When I watch some footage. So there's many guys that I know in this show.
Oh,
For
yeah.
whatever reason.
Well, I mean, you're part of that YouTube community now.
Yes, I'm happy for that. I prefer this community than wrestling community because, for example, the other channel is bigger. As I told you, is close to 51,000 subscribed, close to 90 million views. So it's
Wow.
big. But the community of wrestling is different. It's more stiff a little bit, no? It's not like the toy community is more relaxing, more friendly, no?
Yeah.
In the wrestling, sometimes I do live stream with 500 people during my reaction with Brock Lesnar or whatever.
Wow.
No, many people in the show. But for every part of the world, India, US. But in general, I don't find a connection with other creators, for example, like right here for the toys. I don't know why. It's a different type of community. In the toy communities, I like it because it's more friendly community. So you can do something with another YouTuber. It's not so difficult. If you are some connection, obviously you need something common. But for example, this show when it started was something that I don't know what happened. No, was a casual that Brian Flynn started with me the show. Yeah. But because of Brian, the show started growing up, and it's nice because to me it's this moment to have some fun, to relax myself. Not because I do a big effort for this channel every day. So the Saturday night is a moment to hang out with someone in this community to talk about everything. So I live to me, the interview is like that. However, next week I will be also guest myself for an Italian YouTuber on Twitch. And this guy is an official WWE broadcaster in Italy.
Oh, cool.
And he's a friend of mine. He invited me in his show. It's an Italian show. And for maybe the first time ever on YouTube, on virtually, I'm a guest on a show. Because I was guest on TV in Italy many times as a guest, as an artist.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, yes, it's especially because I'm a guy with different life, a different personality.
Yeah.
Because I'm a toy collector, I'm a wrestling fan, I'm a writer, I'm a musician, I'm too many stuff. Maybe it's difficult to find the time to do everything. But speaking of something that I do, it's time to before to go to the question of the guys.
Okay.
In the chat, they won't share with you the stop motion.
Oh yeah, please.
The Hasbro stop motion. So let's see. The last episode was a Monday Night Raw. So maybe I give you also some something about the storyline, what happened in the story. Maybe I do like the broadcast of my own stop motion to help you what happened in the show. So this is not long. So if you're ready, we start with the match.
Yeah.
It's not long. It's just 1 minute 60 seconds. This was the episode 199.
Holy
that means
cow.
A lot of episodes in this federation of WWF Hasbro.
200's coming up. That's awesome.
Yes, next week is the 200 episode. That's
congratulations.
Right. This is the broadcaster, Jerry the King Lawler and Vince McMahon. Both are WWF Hasbro broadcasters. This is a matchup between Cousin Luke against Moose Monroe, a superstar of the 70s, for the $1 Million Championship. Cousin Luke is one of the Illable families. And they fight each other in the match. 1, 2, 3, and Cousin Luke wins the match and retains the belt. Next matchup is a match of all custom figures. This is Ahmed Johnson against Sid Justice with Harvey Whippleman. Now they fight each other. Powerbomb by Sid Justice. Sid Justice win the match. An interview with Sid Justice. New opponents is Tony Atlas, and now the Godwins against Under the Giants that put the Colossal Nation for the Tag Team Championship. Andre pin both Godwins and they retains the belts. And this is it.
Was that Mean Gene Okerlund in there doing the interviews?
Yes, Minji Noken also, another custom figures.
I got
Many
his
of them
autograph when
are
I was a
custom
kid.
figures. What?
I got Mean Gene's autograph when I was a kid.
Wow, another legend that one.
I wonder if it must still be in my mom's attic. I bet I still have it.
He passed away a few years ago, Minjin.
Yeah. Oh, and I was actually just telling Neil this morning when we were walking around the show, we saw a Captain Lou Albano figure. He lived in my town that I grew up in. He was like Captain Lou. Like we would be sitting. I remember clearly we were in Spanish class in my high school, and the window faced the window to outside was across the street was the post office in our town, and we would every time, like almost at least once a week, we'd see Captain Lou Albano going into he had the rubber bands, everything. Like he still did that on a daily basis, just walking around town. He had the rubber bands in his beard and everything. Like that guy was awesome.
And speaking of Lou, take a look of this. I want to show you something. Where is? This is my WWF Hasbro custom of Captain Lou Albano.
Oh, that's awesome.
And for this custom, I designed the cast, I do some sketches, and then my friend, this is a sculptor, sculpt for me the figure.
That's really great. That head is really nice.
I'm the only one that have this figure because it's a custom WWF Hasbro custom figure of Captain Lou Albano. I can show you other if you want. This is a gallery of the manager, I believe, yes. This is Uncle Zebekiah, also aka Zeb Coulter. His real name is Dutch Mantel. He was a manager in the New Generation era. He's another custom figure. Was the manager of JBL when was Justin O'Bradshaw and the Blue Blooders. Was in the WWE only 1995 and 1996. This is Sunny. Sunny was another female manager, another custom figure. She was the manager of the Body Donnas. I don't know if you remember the Body Donnas.
I don't remember those last two. I don't know them at all.
Skip and Zip. This one is the Doctor of Style Slack. This one is the Doctor of Style Slack. Do you remember Slack, the Doctor of Style in the 80s?
Do you remember that?
The manager of the Twin Towers, Akime Big Boss Man.
I remember. Yeah, I remember that. Wow, that's great.
Was the manager. This one is Shinja. Is a deep cut. This one was the manager of Akushi in the WWF in 1995. So it's a deep cut. Maybe you don't remember this one.
Man, I can't believe how many of these things you have. This is awesome.
This is Sensational Queen Sherry. Maybe.
Oh yeah, I remember Sensational Sherry.
Yes, was the manager of Macho King, Shawn Michaels, and also the $1 Million Mente Di Biase. This is Jimmy R, the Mouth of the South.
I love it.
Everybody knows who is Jimmy.
Did they not make a Jimmy Hart?
No, in the Hasbro line, no. Now they do a WWE Mattel Retro.
Okay.
But once again, the Mattel Retro did. Speaking of tooling of the body, they put the same body, for example, for Tugboat once again, and for example, Bray Wyatt. They have the same size, no?
Yeah.
This is Mr. Fuji custom figures as well, and Miss Elizabeth.
Oh yeah.
And because I see maybe there, yes, Miss Elizabeth, and then Jim Ross, another WWF Hasbro custom. These are only the announcer. These Jim Cornette. Do you remember Jim Cornette? James C. Cornette was the.
That looks familiar, but I don't know the name.
Was the guy that managed Vader when he was in the WWF, the Anvil Bodies. This guy with the racket is Jim Cornette.
Okay.
And then we have, this was do you remember the fictional president of WWF, Jack Tunney? This is the custom of Jack Tunney. WWF has broadcast custom of Jack Tunney.
No,
because he created also the managers, the president. No, was the WWF president at the time. Amazing. This is Harvey Whipperman, another WWF Hasbro custom. Harvey Whipperman was the man. I don't know if you recall that. The guy that he managed, but he managed also the tallest wrestler ever in wrestling history, Giants Gonzalez. You remember Giants Gonzalez? No. Was a guy 8 feet tall, 460. It was the tallest ever.
Wow.
He had the match with The Undertaker on WrestleMania 9. Undertaker near Giant Gonzalez looks like a dwarf.
Are you serious? Wow, that's crazy.
The Undertaker is 6'10". This is the Grand Wizard of Wrestling, another manager for the 70s. This one was because in the 70s we had only three great managers: classic Freddie Blassie, this
Yep.
one, the Grand Wizard of Wrestling with this turban, looks like an Indian guy, and also Captain Lou Albano. Was the three heel manager, three bad guys.
Wow.
This is a referee. I think maybe when I show you, I see a little in the other device. I see the array comes in the stream a little bit later. However, this is the referee Earl Abner, custom
Oh, I remember
figure.
that name.
Were two twin called Abner. It was they built a storyline with this twin in the feud between Hogan and Under the Giants in the early 1988 with these two twin managers. It was a genius, this idea.
Yeah.
And this another referee is Danny Davis, another custom figures, all custom this one. And this was the Brother Love. Do you remember Brother Love?
Oh yeah, yeah.
In real life, his name is Bruce Prichard, and today he's still a booker of the WWE. He's still in charge as one of the guys in the creativity side that build the storyline. And this is the one and the only Bobby the Brain Heenan custom figures.
I love it.
And these one are only the managers in my collection. Only manager and referee. And this one, classy Fred Blassie, is the last one of this list.
That's great. That's great.
So I did a lot of these custom figures with my friends. There is also a huge rosters of wrestler, but we need another stream to show how many they are.
I mean, I think, I know you don't want to fly, so I think maybe we just all need to go to your house and check all this stuff out. That's what really needs to happen.
Or you, if you won't be, you will be my guest, my friend. No problem.
One day we're just going to secretly show up, Chris and I, and we'll come over and hang out at your place and look at all this stuff.
Should be super cool. And now we scroll the answer, the question in the chat. There we go.
Sure.
The first question, which question is? There are many comments, so I need to.
So were you nervous as you're looking for that stuff? Were you nervous to reach out to Brian Flynn to get your first interview?
No. For example, when I meet a lot of famous Italian singer in Italy.
Yeah.
When I built my music album, and by the way, I published just one song, I need to have some important guest. Someone was a guy that I was the opera. When I meet a famous guy, a famous artist, I don't think, wow, this is a famous guy. Looks like he's just lucky more than me.
Right.
I'm really proud of myself. Sometimes I think I'm better than you. You need to help me. So because of that, I'm not nervous in general. I don't feel that when I meet a really popular man. But I was really happy when I accept that. I was really happy because it was the first episode. No one knew at the time what is the Mr. Allen Super Show. And it wasn't also called like that. It was just a show. I decided to put a name of the show only later. Also, this logo that you can see.
Yeah.
I did this logo with the sunglasses and the top hat because it's my gimmick. I did this logo. This is the logo of the show.
Did you have that at the beginning? Was that in the first episode? You did that look?
No. I started thinking about a name and a logo later after when the show started to have 10 episodes, 15. But I started to have important guests immediately because the first one was Brian. The second one was a guy. Oh my gosh, I forgot the name. A guy that worked with Val Staples on the PowerCon. I don't remember now. John Callis, maybe. Then I got immediately Pixel Dan, Shartimus Prime, Cornboy, CB was one of my earlier guests.
Oh, good.
Also, I got Jeremy Padawer. I got Zach Ott. With Zach, we did awesome guy at Zach. Now it's growing up immediately is the amazing.
Yeah, that's
And
heavy
this song.
hitters right from the start, right there. That's good. That's top names right at the beginning.
I think like, once again I mentioned before because if your destiny something happened,
Yeah,
if you're your destiny, for example, probably wasn't my destiny to be successful forever in music because I got some success when I was the opener on this concert. But then the problem, the life of the artist in general, as a person, an artist is a guy that go up and down during a one day because if something goes really well, you become euphoric, super fun. But when something goes down, you become a little bit depressive, no?
yeah.
So it's up and down every day. Also, the job as an artist up and down, as a musician, as a YouTuber, up and down, up and down. So you can be go on the top, and then you become in the bottom, no, of your life. So it's not.
That's
It's
where
not
you
easy
are
to
right now. Can I just let you know? Right now, you're at the bottom with me on your show. You've
no,
hit the
no,
bottom.
no.
Now it's time to
And
go back up again.
no, I discovered it because when I watched the show with you, Chris, I think your personality don't because Chris is a larger than life, a super fun guy. Now I discover better you than during the show with Chris because you Chris looks like you still in your character, no George Hates fan, but
Exactly.
you're a totally different person. I discover now you're a really nice person. I like that. I discovered another side. However, I have this sensibility. I think this is a perfect word. When I watch a face, for example, no, whatever person, I feel the truth of this person. I understand which person I have in front of me.
Yeah.
It's something that I able to. I don't know why I'm like that. Maybe writing. When you're writing, you works with something that is in the mind of the people, something inside of you, but inside of everyone. For example, when I do a story with my book, with my novels, I don't know what happened. I just follow like a river. I don't sometimes I wrote some chapter of my one of my novel with closed eyes, just taping on the keyboards
Wow.
because it's something that I follow. To me, it's not a problem writing. Now is find the time. But for example, I show you something. Don't go away.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
write here something to show you. I'm
As
a
he's getting
guy.
that Puppyplex showcase, I can't answer any questions like that. I don't know nearly enough. And if I did answer any questions like that, the straight poop would reach through the screen and punch me.
Yes.
So
Let's see, guys. I don't forget the question, but because I'm a maybe I'm a little bit narcissist. I understand, but I want to show you something. This one was my novel that I published in 2013.
wow.
The titles in English is Tenant. I don't know if the pronunciation is correct. Tenant is the guy that got a home and paid to have that home. No, so a tenant. What is the correct pronunciation?
Tenant? Like
Tenant. I
like a
believe
like a person that lives in an apartment?
exactly.
Yeah,
Yes.
tenant. You're saying it right.
Okay. This is Tenant. The title of this novel, my
Okay.
first one. Then I start a trilogy. The trilogy are three books published
Wow.
in this one in 2000 from this one in 2014. And the title of the trilogy is the Dark and the Rain.
Okay.
And this first novel of the trilogy was Fragile Dreams. The name of this one. The second one of the trilogy is called The Game of Truth. It was this, and for this trilogy in the book, in the front of the book, there is a introduction of a popular writer in Italy that was my dear friend, and unfortunately he passed away a few years ago. But for each my book, famous Italian singer, showman for TV did a video on my because I have also an Italian YouTube channel, a small channel because I don't work so much on that one. Call it with my name Alla Magnetti, and this channel is this Italian writer, musician, actor that present my novel or read my novel just to promote the novel. No.
Wow.
Yes, and the third one of the trilogy is this one is Another Life. The title. And the last one, this one was 2015. The last one was 2019, and the title is "Who is the Girl?" And also the introduction of this novel was made by a popular anchorman in Italy that I was many times a guest on his show. But this only 5. But since
Only
2017,
only 5. You've written 5
yes,
novels. That's insane.
yes, but I explain why I say it's only because I start to writing in 2007, and since then, from today I haven't the time to write a lot
Right.
because you have too many stuff to do. I wrote 37 and a half novels. Okay, I'm a machine. As a musician, I did 200 songs, maybe 100. I put away in the trash can in my
Right.
laptop. But 200 songs I did. For this channel, I uploaded over 4,000 videos. Okay.
Wow.
If I put together the video on this channel, wrestling channel, maybe 10,000 videos by myself. Sometimes just a news, sometimes it's a review, sometimes it's an interview. So I'm a machine. I'm crazy.
That's wild. Have
Yes.
any of your books been translated to English? Like, is there a way for me to read any of them?
Not yet, not yet. Also because I think that because of my story, to me, it's not easy to find a publisher in Italy
Right.
because my type of story is more I think for more US audience because first of all, I don't follow a type of novels in general. By mix it, there is maybe a love story that comes something supernatural, and the love story can turn in a thriller or an horror novel. So anything goes in my. I understand, especially if you put something paranormal in your story, and it's not really intentional. It's something that happened when I work in the story. And I understand in Italy they looking for other stuff, especially the publisher, not
Right.
the reader, because the people is open to read something new or to hear something new. Speaking of music, the problem are the publisher. In the US, I think it maybe is better that if I the problem I'm not good to writing in English. It's impossible because my
Right.
English is
Yeah.
so basic. When
Right.
I read, for example, the bio of the Mythic Legions made by Jeremy on your website, I'm so jealous of his beautiful English because my English is basic. Because if I can I should be able to do to have a good English. If I could be able, this is the right way I believe to say
Right.
that, to have a better, with a better English, I can do an novel in English or translate that, and maybe I can find more publisher than in Italy, because in Italy the sound, like in the music, they put on the market something really that I personally I don't like, something too much related with mafia problem or social problem. This stuff that to me is so boring. I like because I think that I try to explain not an easy concept in English, so it's a big challenge now to me.
Right.
But I think that the reality that we think that is reality, but it's not the truth. So the mission of the art is find the truth through the reality. And the only way to understand the reality is pass through the barricades of the reality. No,
That's wild.
it's why. Yes, also because if you're a pragmatic guy, this concept looks like wild or weird or crazy. But when you are an artist, you start to play to something that is not touchable. No, it's
Yeah.
something that is another world. Like looks like. So
Yeah.
you understand better the the real reason behind the reality that we think to live, because it's something that I discovered, especially on writing, because maybe there is something similar in different stories that I did, and as a writer, I discovered that because when I read my novel, looks like to read a novel made by another guy. because it's not almost unconscious the creation to me,
Wow, that's wild. Yeah. Can I
So
ask you something? You mentioned earlier you have videos on a Italian YouTube, Italy YouTube. Is there a
see,
different YouTube? Is there like a
no, no,
different?
no. It is only is YouTube, but the channel is the channel is in Italian. So the contents of the channel are in Italian, not in
Oh, okay.
English.
So there's not like a
Because
different you. There's not like an Italian YouTube, and it's a
no,
separate
no, no,
YouTube
no.
from
It's
the
only
U.S.
one. Thanks God, we're only one. Because I put only stuff in English. Because in that channel I put only stuff related with my works as a musician or writer.
Right, right,
And also, if I publish a new novel, I need to do some videos, but not a lot. Not
right.
a lot like this one or the Wrestling channel. So I
What?
basically split myself into channels. The other one is a like a sidekick, no?
Right. So when you start, like when you were first getting into your first video with Brian, um, what did you say, 64 episodes ago? What made you want to start a channel of this? Like what were you like? What were you getting into? Like what were you like? Were you a collector? Like were you just a collector that you were like, you know what, I want to learn more about this? Or why did you start that channel?
Okay, allora, first of all, the first channel that I started in English was the other one with wrestling.
Right. Yeah.
So at the time, I was a YouTuber also before, so YouTube was nothing new. In the beginning, this channel wasn't a lazy, so lazy channel in 2017 because at the time I was only a collector for these WWF Hasbro figures, no? Because I started with the custom figures and that. Only later, when I start to was I discover, I don't know why, we maybe a page of my friend from US because he has some friend US that love wrestling in Facebook. I discovered the Club Grayskull line, Club Grayskull and Motu, and I am a super fan. Not only the Motu, but all Filmation show. I like Braystar. My favorite cartoon when I was a kid was Filmation Ghostbusters,
Oh yeah.
and I
Yep.
still have today the old Shaper action. Shaper was, I believe, the brand that produced the action figures line for that show. So, when I saw this Club Grayskull, the likeness perfect from the filmation, wow! I want that, so I purchased these figures on eBay. I got the classic Castle Grayskull, was a gift by my girlfriend, however, the classic Castle Grayskull, and I decided, wow, I'm a YouTuber, I need to do something for that. I can't purchase this stuff and don't do a video. So I start to go in the attic once again
Yeah.
and got my old playset of Moto Vintage. I do some crappy video of Moto Vintage, but this is it. For a while, I do nothing for this channel. Only in the late 2018, I decide, and if I do some review with my old toys, so I go to the attic once again. I got the Bracer action figures, Filmation Ghostbusters, and I start to do reviews for this stuff. But just a video per day, one video every day,
Yeah.
not more than that. But was once again my sidekick, my main channel was wrestling channel.
Right.
Then I started to collect the Club Grayskull. I started thinking about, and if I start to do some toy news, was a good idea to do views because right now this channel is over 2 million and 200,000 of views in total.
Wow.
And I started to do toy news. And when started, I started the pandemic stuff. And I thought, if I start to talk with someone about this stuff that I love, share this, or not only with the video, but talk in virtual person with
Right.
someone. And I love Brian Flynn also because his sense of humor. On his channel for Super Sam, he did a lot of vignette to
Yep.
promote new stuff. And I like that. And I like his sense of humor. I like it because he's a guy, when you ask, are you sure to do the Snake Mount, this big project? Why not if I like? No, I like his philosophy. So was at that time I so if I try to invite to start a show with him, he accepted immediately, and we started the show together. Back then was something that I discovered something that I like, and for a while, just 2 episodes. For a while, I back to new stuff, and then. But later, I think if I continue this show with other guys of this, but just to casually, was sorry casually this
Yeah.
show in the beginning, and then I started the pleasure to share because my problem is in real life. There's no one no people that I can share this the
Right. Yeah.
things I
Yeah.
love
No one,
because
no one in your area that collects that kind of
yeah,
stuff.
yes, exactly. For example, to put my girlfriend in this stuff a little bit, I created a chess game because she loves play chess.
Yeah.
So I created a big chess game. And by the way, the board chess game, the big board game for the
Yep.
chess, was painted by my mother. So I put also my mother in
Oh, that's
this.
fantastic. I love that.
Yes, the family affair.
Yeah.
So because of that, I started and I enjoy it. I start to do the show with the guys of the toy business, other YouTuber, and I was surprised at how easy is it to exchange something in this world. It's not the same in Italy.
Oh,
For
okay.
example, in Italy, it's impossible to do something with another YouTuber that maybe is bigger than you. It's impossible
Right.
because they think they are the best. They don't care about you, no? Okay.
How,
It's the same also the famous musician because I have a lot of famous musicians that are friends of mine in Italy, but there are many other guys that are so crappy persons, really garbage human being with 2 legs. Because really, but when I go at sometime, I remember that there is a famous pop singer in Italy that when he goes to the stage looks like an angel, but behind the scene looks like a devil. No,
yeah.
he's a really bad,
Yep.
two-faced man. And when I go to his home, because his sound engineer is a friend of mine, was really a bad conversation. And many times, sometimes when the people become higher and more popular, become really bad as a human being.
Yeah.
No,
No, I get that for sure. How did you what like it when you were collecting because you I mean it seems like you were into like the old toys in your attic. How did you end up finding Mythic Legions?
and imitation is because my first interview with CB. Because before I know Mitiliso just a little bit because the Motu homage figure.
Okay. Yep.
And by the way, are not my favorite of Mythic Legion because I like Mythic Legion when they are Mythic Legion without other relationship with other stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So because of only when I do the interview with CB, my first one in 2021, yes, I go to the SirHorseman.com because I knew the for Horsemen about they work with Motu especially, Motu
Right. Right.
Club Grey School, William Stell Collection, my favorite line, of Motu. Club Grey School and William Stell Collection are my favorite, more than classics, the typical classics, because
Right.
we're something really new. And I watch these figures. And I'm a big super fan of HeroQuest, fantasy stuff. I like Lord of the Rings. I love HeroQuest especially is my favorite board game. And by the way, also is the favorite of my girlfriend. And we play many matches together about HeroQuest, no?
There. I have it right over there on the shelf.
Okay, perfect. So you know what I mean.
Oh yeah.
So because of that, looks like to see a gigantic version of HeroQuest. And during my interview with CB, he told me more about that. They are different size. The goblin are small. The ogre are the orc, the different scale, no? And I like that. Like in wrestling, so I told you before, Big John Stanley need bigger than Super Fry Jimmy Snuka or
Right. Yeah.
the different size is important to me. Not 7 inches, all guys the same size, the same 8. So, fantasy. After the interview with CB, I go back to this website. I need this figure. Oh, I can't find this figure. I don't know. During that night, after my interview with CB, I had a dream. And the dream was my father that passed away in 2020. However, in this dream was with my father, and was like a tornado. And this house was full of mythic legions. And the dream, I said, Dad, why I have this figure? And come on, hurry, get the figures because arrives the tornado. The day after, I go back to the Four Horsemen, website, Sir Osman. I watch this figure. I fall in love immediately. I start to purchase the figure on eBay. I going crazy to find John Rune Shaper, to find other guys like. But the first one that I got, this is when the beginning of this falling in love is when I got my first one was King Brondon, because the mythical age is typical things that you understand how they are only when you got this figure in your hands.
Yeah.
And you understand it's not just a toys, because the line on the face looks like to see a character jump out for the screen for whatever fantasy movie.
Yep.
And when I get this figure, as a writer, I say I need to do something, a story with this, a stop motion series to build something, diorama, a castle, whatever. I need to do something. And start with the idea of the chess game to create a story in a stop motion related with the chess game. Two factions that fight each other like in a chess game, and translate this concept in a stop motion series. Then I start to get the figure, and thanks God once again, when I do my episode with Dennis Derby, Dennis told me, hey, if you need some figure, don't be shy to ask me. So I give him to long list, including my some figure that is crazy to find, like Hursok, Almir Golden Tooth, this guy. So on the aftermarket is impossible, or you find crazy price that you need to sell your house to get these figures. So I got these figures from Dennis. He helped me a lot to get all the characters that need my storyline. And so I fall in love, and now it's my favorite action figure line.
That's amazing. I mean, in such a short period of time too. I mean, to jump in. I mean, as there's a guy in the chat who's asking about getting older figures. As you know, it's hard to get some of that old stuff. Like it's. I mean, for you to have met Dennis would be like that's a gift right there, because it's impossible to get some of that old stuff for sure.
Yes, he helped me a lot to find many old stuff. Also, there is some wave. For example, Ilithia is my wave, absolutely. Nice. More than the Arity. In the Arity, I got some figures. I got Red Shield Soldier, Vorthog, but not the demons. The demons are not my favorite race. Okay. Awesome figures, but not for me. Right. For example, no. Also, the anthropomorphic figures, only Krotos I like it, but it's not. But for example, I like dwarf, goblin, skeletons. I like trolls. I like magician. I like ghost. I like this stuff. No, knights. I like. So I built my storyline related with this chess game. But I want also give some answer for the guys, because now reverse the show. It become an interview for you to me. And I like it because I like maybe because I like talking. I'm an Italian. The Italian are famous to talk a lot, maybe too much. No?
Hey, it's okay. I want to learn about you. I want to learn about you as well. So, and I'm sure these people do too.
Yes, absolutely. But I like it, be a guest and do in interviews, because I like talks about me and my passion. It's typical of me. This question is nice, in my opinion. How did you learn to sculpt figure and make an action figure?
I mean, most of that part came from Eric. Honestly, Eric Treadaway was definitely instrumental in me learning action figures, and then after that it was I hadn't done a lot of action figures even up until I was at like when we were doing all the wrestling stuff. It was at a company called Gentle Giant Studios, and that's where I really I learned how to sculpt and wax there. It was a different material than I had even worked in anywhere else, and from there, that's where I really cut my teeth in the action figure world for sure. So it was mostly just by learning, being around other people who already knew it, learning from people who do it already. That's the best way to do it.
Because I see other question is already about it, but it's just a same question with other version, because he asking the same viewer says how you made the toy line with the 3D printing that's going on?
None of my toy line, the toy lines that I have done, like personally, none of it was 3D at all. I actually don't know how to do any 3D sculpting. I'm still a traditional sculptor. I use a wax pen. Like my this is my tool right here. This is a
Wow.
wax pen, and it's there's a nib on the end of this that I put on here, and this is like this is a blank. This is a figure waiting to happen at some point. It's
Oh,
just a little
you're
chunk of
like
wax.
Michelangelo that saw the cube I don't remember the name in English
Like
of
a
this
marble or something.
marble. Exactly.
Yeah.
The cube of marble. I saw the figure inside.
Yeah, exactly. This will eventually that turns into a figure somehow.
Awesome.
Yeah, ours was all done old school style, hand sculpted and molded, cast, and then we send it to China.
This
Uh,
question is a little bit cryptic. Maybe any movies your favorite movie? We try to.
actually I saw this question come up earlier. That was when we were talking about doing. I was in special effects, and he was
Okay.
asking if it was visual effects, and I actually worked in costuming. So the stuff that we were doing was mostly superhero costuming, and it was. Let me see if I can look up another question. I'll see if I can, or I
Okay.
can see if I can find one of my favorite pictures that happened. Um, it was some of the stuff. I mean, the last movie I worked on before I moved out here, that's about to come out, is Black Adam with The Rock.
Oh,
We did the studio I was working at did the costuming for The Rock's costume in that movie. And then before that, we did a bunch of Marvel stuff. We did the Deadpool costume, Black Panther, the very first Thor movie. Worked on the Thor costume for that. Um, Star
I
Trek
like these
2.
comments of Chris. It's fun.
Come on, Chris. Let's see. God, I don't know where I'd have to go back far enough. Years. What year was
This is a
Captain
question.
Marvel?
I know the answer, but maybe to try to be official, do the answer for this one. But I know the answer for that.
For
This
which one?
guy answer. I have a question. We just started collecting Mythic Legion this year. A chance to get the old waves. Is
Not really.
not really. Is you need to have big money and try to find it in the aftermarket like I did, but it's not easy find it in some way. Or maybe you can vote the future all star to get one of them, some of them, or few of them.
Yeah, I mean,
Because in
All Stars is a great way to get.
yes, in the All Star 5, I believe three all the are reissue. I don't know. I'm not good to pronounce these words. There is a question for one six shooter. Where is outside of Mythic one six shooter that he has his own show, and I still waiting to be a guest of his show because he wasn't guest in my show, so need to be mutual. However, one six shooter asks to you outside of Mythic Legions your favorite line.
Um, well, I mean, do you know what Glios is at all? Have you
No,
ever heard of that?
I
Uh,
heard the name, but in some conversation, but I don't actually the actual figures. I don't remember the line.
Glios is a small action figure.
Okay.
They're and it's completely it's actually just like Mythic Legions. It's fully swappable. So this
Okay.
this character breaks down into you can pop off arms, you pop off hands, you could swap them around, you can build things with them. Like every part is swappable, and this line has. I mean, these cases behind me in the shot are all three of these are
Okay,
completely
this
full.
is the answer of the next question.
There you go. Those are completely full of Glyos figures, and so you can see this figure's this small. I mean, I wish I could show you. Like, I can't pick up. My camera is the computer, so I can't pick it up and show you. But this case behind me is completely filled with Glyos figures. There's hundreds of them. That's probably the line I collect the most. And it's made by a company called Onell Design.
Wow, hundreds of, so they produce a lot of these figures.
Oh yeah, I mean it's basically like every color you could imagine. It's been run in. I'm gonna try and see if I can find a picture of it.
Why you don't display your figures?
Why don't I?
Yes, you don't display on shelves your figures.
I just haven't unpacked the totes yet. We just moved here. We moved here a year ago, and
Okay.
I haven't unpacked.
So
I got
is recent your you're moving from LA to where you live now.
Yep, just last year, just last summer.
Okay, so it's because of the studio that you change your house.
Yep. I know I have pictures of this stuff on my phone somewhere. It's just a matter of finding it with all the baby pictures.
Tell me, just to understand the feelings. Tell me, how is your first day job in the studio?
Well, first when I was first coming out here, they told me I was going to have to share an office with Chris. And I got here and Chris had jam-packed his office full of stuff. I think just so I wouldn't be able to fit in there. I mean, that's my guess, but it was yeah, there was no, I was trepidatious because I know Chris a little bit from the visits I've had before, and I didn't think I'd be able to deal with sharing an office with Chris all day. So I was a little worried about that, but then when I got here, I was able to set up elsewhere in the studio, and then everything was fine from there. These are the skeletons I was talking about a little earlier.
Cool. So they are with one color,
Yeah.
for the full figures.
I did a couple, like I did a tribute figure for a Skeletor looking one, but most of them are just one color stuff. I'll keep trying. But yeah, I mean, it was being back with those guys was like, I mean, it's like going home. It was like I was coming back to work with friends. It was, it wasn't like I was going to this strange new job that I wasn't really nervous about that.
Yes, also because from outside, when I watch you guys, you feel that the people in full timer in the studio likes a little family, a little bit. You feel a good atmosphere, in my opinion, from outside.
For sure. I mean, we're all into the. Everybody's like, it's not a paycheck. It's like it's not that kind of job. Everyone's there because we all love the stuff, and we all want to make the best thing we can for everybody else. It's like, and we want, because we want the best thing for us. We all want the toys. We all want to play with them. So it's like, that's why there's so much love behind this line. It's like, it's not like a mass market company who's just pumping out action figures based on movies. It's like we're making things that we want to play with on our shelf. That's why they're as cool as we can make them. Like, we don't want to put out something that's bad. We want to put out the best thing because that's what we want on our shelf.
That's right. I feel that also when I did because on this channel, by the way, I had I guess almost all members, because I got almost all of you. For example, I remember an awesome interview with Cameron Smith,
Yep.
awesome artist. For example, I did interview with the other guys, and for each of you, I feel that there is a good chemistry between each others, and also the same philosophy. It's not easy find this type of situation, job.
Oh no, it froze again. What's gonna happen? Good. While it's frozen, I'm gonna look for more pictures.
Same. I think it was frozen a little bit.
Yep, it just froze for a second. You're back now.
Because I saw myself frozen.
You're back now.
I don't know. We are both frozen now.
When no, we're here. Are you here?
Yes, because I had other two device, so
Okay.
I see what happen if something goes weird. And by the way, one of the device need to be recharged because by like a monitor, no, I can see what happen also when I goes off for some whatever reason.
I know we were talking in the studio before that I was coming on here, and I know Eric has been trying. You've been trying to get Eric on the show, and he keeps saying like, I bet anytime after Legion's Con, you'll be able to get him on this show. Until then, he's going to be way too
I
busy.
know. Also because no, I'm back, Trevor. Also because I still waiting to have Eric since November 2021. So, but I think when it will be the right time, he will be in my show too.
Oh yeah, he definitely wants to do it. I know that for sure.
Also because as a writer, I won't focus the interview for the storytelling points, especially staying points, because I won't stay focused, especially of that, because in general, the people do interview with him to talks about the beautiful design.
Right.
But I think in this line is important rules also the storyline. It's really strong, you know.
I mean, that's something that he's like amazing at, and he's got. I mean, throughout the years, he's been developing lines and characters and stories that some have never even seen. Some of them have never seen the light outside the studio, and like they've never like no one even knows about. He has like storyline after storyline in his brain. I don't even know how he does it. Like, I mean, it's like you've got all those stories inside of you
Yes,
that just come out, and he's got the same thing. Like, he's this insanely talented artist that's just full of ideas, and it's amazing to watch. I mean, that's one of the reasons I wanted to be here, was to be around a guy like that, because it's just inspiring to be around that.
that's true. That's true. There is another question for you. A Puppy Plex Shield Case says, "Do you collect toys during the 80s?"
Yeah, for sure. I mean, one of my favorite lines that I still have on display right now is called Muscle. Do you remember Muscle toys? They were the small pink wrestling toys that Mattel put out.
I know that the Super 7 do something about that, I
Yeah,
believe.
Super 7 brought back they did that style figure, and I think they did like Motu muscle figures
Yes,
and things like that. Yeah, they that line was huge for me growing up. And it was a big inspiration for the OMFG figures that we were doing. Yeah, that was I collected a lot of those. I did actually. Here's another line of, speaking of those, like small wrestling figures.
cool.
This is have you ever heard of Kaiju Big Battle?
Yes, the name, yes, but
As a wrestling guy, you got to look into that. It's Kaiju Big Battle. You can just go to kaiju.com and look them up. They like, as a wrestling guy, you're going to appreciate it. It's all it's people in like rubber suits wrestling as monsters. Like,
wow,
you're going to love it. Yeah, you'll really dig it.
I need to take a look. I'll check out in the future for that.
Yeah, you'll definitely like it. And the guy is he's out here on the East Coast. He's in like the Massachusetts area, and he developed this whole this. I mean, it's a pretty big like operation he's got going now. And he was at TwitchCon. He does things like that. Like, he does
Ah,
like live events, and seeing that live is amazing. I mean, you're watching wrestling, but everybody's in big foam rubber suit, like monster suits. It's really
cool,
fun.
cool. And speaking of Mythic Legion, do you remember, because I told you my story about that, do you remember how you discovered the line?
The first time I saw it, because I was living in LA when they were developing it. But the first time I saw the figure was one of the nights, and it was for at one of the at Toy Fair one year. They were going to do an art show, basically, where different artists would customize one of the night figures, and then it was at what's that guy's name? Lev Toy Tokyo. It was at a store called Toy Tokyo. They had like a gallery downstairs, and they had basically like an art show slash reveal of the Mythic Legions line. And it was also, they were doing Power Lords at the time, I believe. So half the show was Power Lords stuff, and the other half was this new property they were thinking about making, and it was called Mythic Legions. And I was lucky enough to be able to be part of that art show for them, and I did one of the I did a custom. I turned it into a zombie, like I did like a custom zombie knight, and yeah, it was just seeing that stuff in person. You're like, oh man, this is amazing. And that was back when they were debating on if they should do it like if 4-inch or 7-inch. You know, they didn't know what size they were going to be yet. So like the figure we made, I think at the time was it was like a 2-up for a 4-inch figure. So it was actually like about an 8-inch knight at the time. Yes, it was, you could just tell like they were, I mean, they were amazing even then. And that was back when it was all hand sculpted. There was no, it wasn't digital sculpting back then. And yeah, it was cool.
And do you remember the first Mythic Legions figure that you got?
I was lucky enough to be, because I had run a couple Kickstarters, so I helped like just kind of, I didn't like do any like work on their Kickstarter or anything, but they would like, email me and ask me questions or call me and talk to me about Kickstarter and just kind of, help them like come to grips with doing a Kickstarter. So I knew exactly when it was going to launch. So I was able to be the first backer on the first Kickstarter.
Wow.
So that was like, that's my little claim to fame in Mythic Legion's history. So the first ones would have been whatever was in the first line. I got the first line.
Cool. It's interesting because all of you that is the
that's my son with Deadpool.
But what is the name of your son?
Elliot.
Elliot. Okay, well, like Elliot, the Invisible Dragon, the movie of Disney, the same name.
No, it's just the suit. Elliot the Invisible Dragon
was a movie of Disney. I don't know what is that. Honestly, I just translate the Italian title, so maybe it's another title.
I bet I bet it's Pete's Dragon. We had it was called Pete's Dragon here.
Okay, maybe it's not another, because remember a movie with a dragon of the Disney.
Yeah,
it was a really old sci-fi, not old CGI. Maybe I don't know. What is the name of this? Is one of the Wakanda?
Yeah, that's Killmonger.
Yes. I know everything. Also stuff that maybe I'm not really collector because of the two news. I put everything on those channel. I know everything.
A lot of this stuff, like someone was asking earlier what other things I collect. I try and collect. I do collect a fair bit of the superhero stuff as well.
So something, you are not a collector of the typical main line, like G.I. Joe, Transformers, or Marvel Legends, or Motu, or Ghostbusters, for example. Turtles.
No, I mostly collect, like, I'll collect anything as long as I like the figure. Like, it doesn't matter to me. Like, I don't care about like if it's just from a certain line or anything. Like, I did collect all of the Motu classics because the Horsemen were making them. So because they were sculpting them, I collected the line. So I do have all those, but like, no, I basically like, I like weird, like I have a collection of food toys.
Food fighters? Do you collect food fighters?
I do. Yeah, I have food fighters. Yeah, I have a lot of like. I have
if
a
you
whole
want,
food
I
shelf
can.
at the office.
I did a stop motion with the food fighters.
Oh, I'm gonna look that up for sure.
Okay, I search it. I remember when I showed this because also Pixel Dan is another fan of food fighters.
Yep.
And maybe me, you, and Danny, we are the only three that still alive. They love this storyline today.
That's one of my favorites. I love that.
And I did a stop motion. I put also my girlfriend inside.
Nice.
I need only to find it on my channel where it is, because there is a plethora of videos.
Yeah, I was gonna say, are you gonna be able to even find it with 4,000 videos you have up?
Okay, I find it because there was just the episode one. No, was the beginning of that. I need to skip the ads. I love the ads of my videos, but now I need to skip it because okay. So I show you that this is my foot fight, the only episode so far of the Foot Fighters stop motion series. And basically, the story was this girl of Madley, Kentucky. The basically is the billet town of Hillbilly Jim in wrestling. So I got this town. I put this town in the story. Uh, a girl in Madley, Kentucky, in her kitchen, something weird happened because of the Foot Fighters. So
All
because
right.
the Foot Fighters start to fight each other in the during her cooking moments. So now I share it in a few moments just to have some fun, to have fun with George. So Chris become crazy tonight to see this new version of George. Okay, there we go.
Barbie doll is a young girl of Modley, Kentucky. She loves cooking food and stayed inside her kitchen. But there's something weird in her kitchen. Something that she doesn't know. She spends every day to create new delicious food. But something weird continues. And Barbie doll continues her happy life. But at the same time, in the kitchen, start a fight. A never-ending war between the kitchen commandos and the refrigerator rejects.
And this is another this is the other scene now, the breakfast.
Na 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 na. Na na
The breakfast become a new battle between the kitchen commandos and the refrigerator rejects. Later, the refrigerator rejects ambush the kitchen commandos, and the Burgundian general become an hostage of the bad guys. Now, the Burgundian general is a prisoner in the headquarters of the refrigerator rejects. But the kitchen commandos arrive and save their leader and start another battle. Yes, the kitchen commandos win the battle, but not the war.
And this is it. Was the only episode that I did with Foot Fighters. And by the way, was my first ever real stop motion that I did. No,
That's amazing. That's so good.
and when I showed that to Alex Kropinak is my friend, was two-time guest in my show. And he's also the guy that do the stop motion for Metzko, the promo Metzko stop motion. I showed that to him, and he told me that it was good, this stop motion. And to me, it was a big endorsement because it was my first ever stop motion. To me, I watched that, I saw many issues, because it's the first one. No?
So you did that even before the wrestling stop motion?
Yes, because in the beginning, my very stop motion was really, really not a really stop motion, just a slideshow, a little bit more faster.
Okay.
But my first stop motion with the good rules was this one, to follow a little bit the rules. It was a big challenge because for the first time ever, I decided to use the many frames to, and the hardest things was to create the effects for the guns when the
Right.
shooting effects, because you need to put a little things white close to the gun, so big time consuming, but was fun. Obviously,
One of the
I did other stop motion series. I had 2 episodes of a Master of the Universe stop motion, for example, with the Club Grey School. So I do other stuff. 5 episodes also for the Mythic Legions. So I have many projects, maybe too many.
well, if you like those old Foo Fighters, which you obviously do, a friend of mine is trying. He did it. I think it was last year or maybe earlier this year. He was trying to kickstart a line called 9 to 5 Warriors, and it's very reminiscent of this this Foo Fighters. And he's even got like a little cartoon promo video and everything. Like it would be like the introduction to a cartoon. It's
Cool.
take a look at it sometime. Just like do a little search for 9 to 5 Warriors. I think you'll appreciate it as a connoisseur of Foo Fighters.
Cool. It was a nice line. In Italian was I remember that line when I was a kid, but I never had as a kid the Foot Fights. But I remember the promos with this. There was a stop motions.
There we go. I finally found that picture I was looking for.
Cool.
That was one that like that sprung up one day. That's Brie Larson in the Captain Marvel suit, and she posted that picture on her Instagram, and every one of my friends was like, dude, because that's me in the background. And that was like, I was just happened to be standing there at one of the costume fittings. She didn't tag me. She doesn't know who I am. She has no idea that I was even in the photo, I don't think. But like everybody that knew me was like, holy crap. Because it was passed around all over, because it's a Marvel thing. So it was like everywhere people were posting that picture. And I was just like a little tiny bit of famous if you already knew me.
You're like Andy Warhol says, you're 50 minutes of celebrity.
But only if you already knew me. I know I have a picture of Glios on here too. I'm gonna find it because this is bothering me. There it is. So you asked why this is what's in those tote boxes behind me.
Wow.
About 1 million
Display.
tiny figures.
Wow. You need to do that once again.
It'll happen. I just need, the problem is again, time. Most of the time when I get home from work.
Yes, I understand that.
Taking care of Elliot.
The time problem, I'm really familiar with that.
Yeah.
The problem with time, because I am the same. And speaking of time, man, we are close to 2 hours and a half, my friend.
That's awesome.
There a few minutes we passed through the records with William Stout, but I believe also with the first time with CB was close to 2 hours and a half also too.
All right, I got to beat CB. Let's keep talking.
Every time that I do a show with CB, before to start the interview, I ask him, show me Baxter, because he has a British Bulldog at CB.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
And I love British Bulldog also because when I see a British Bulldog, I remember mine that I had in the past, because I love this type of dog. I like the dog with no nose, like the pug,
like the
bulldog.
pug, yeah,
exactly.
Hey, look, Brute Scale Greg is on.
Greg Brute Scale, exactly. Welcome. And guys, if you're new on this channel, don't forget to subscribe. A little promo for the upcoming show. Next week on this channel will be a Mythic Legions party to celebrate the over 2,200,000 views on this channel. Will be 5 guests, and these 5 guests will be revealed next week on the Cabal, because obviously will be a Mythic Legions party. So we talk about Mythic Legions and everything. Then the weeks later, on Saturday 29 at 9 p.m. Eastern, will be a Mythic Legions Necronominous prediction with Eric Miller and Elic Rebron. Eric LeBron, two Eric in the same time. And on November 7 at 3 p.m. Eastern will be the Transformer Hasbro team. So these are the following episode of the show. As you know, you follow this channel. If you're new, if you want fresh news every day on the channel, you got news for every toy line first. Just a problem if someone is new on the channel, because I don't remember all my subscribers on this channel. I remember someone that appears every time, but not all of them. It's difficult. Also because I'm not good with names. It's difficult to remember the names all everybody. Sometimes
I'm the same.
Especially not with the action figures. Because, for example, Mythic Legions, I know each names of the figures that I got in my, and there are a lot because I don't remember. I'm really bad with numbers, with maths, numbers, counting, stuff. Really bad. But I believe I'm close to 50 figures, maybe Mythic Legions now, maybe 45 probably. And I know each name of each figures. But when I meet someone, maybe when you meet more than one, good question, but said answer. This year not, because I'm unable to be there. I hope next year maybe. The only problem is that because I made this choice as an artist. To works only with art, so YouTube, music, and writing, whatever. So with that, I'm able to pay my taxes, to pay my figures, but I'm unable so far to put away some money to do some travel. So the reason why is not I haven't the money to do that, because I spend a lot of figures, and also because I'm not a rich guy. I have a big house. I'm happy about my life, but I know rich guys like a popular musician. No, also because you got a lot of money in this business, in music, art, in the good moment, but in the low moment, no. So as a YouTuber, I'm able to pay my figures, to pay my taxes, to pay my food. I'm happy for that because I do something that I like, and I'm able to pay everything. But so far, no. Maybe next year. Let's see. Because I think it should be cool, be a Legion's Con to meet many people that I know in real life. No, should be.
Yeah,
cool.
I mean, you'll definitely lose your mind. That'll be a fun time.
Yes.
And while you're doing promos, don't forget to watch our show every Wednesday live at 4:00 ish.
For each o'clock. In general, I rewatch, because when you do the show, in general, is the time I'm super busy with the channel. But when I had a dinner at 2 a.m. or 1 a.m. and 30 before to start my live stream with wrestling, I watch your show every Wednesday, because I like the two characters that looks like different, looks like different. So there is some prediction for Necronominus, guys, in 2 weeks. The episode in 2 weeks, Necronominus prediction with myself, Eric Miller, and Elic Rebron. So
what does that mean, a prediction show? What are you gonna, like, you're just gonna discuss what you think is coming up?
Exactly.
Okay.
So this is the idea. So
speculation. Are you gonna you should need to do a live reaction video to the live G-Con broadcast.
Yes, but the problem that the Saturday after G-Con, there is a pay-per-view of wrestling, so I need to do the live stream in the other one.
Yep.
Maybe 2 weeks, the weeks later, because on the day we transform as a team is on Monday, is another time. So maybe I need to find out some guests to talk about it. Maybe you can come back for that. Let's see.
I'll come back anytime you want.
Because Legion's Con is on... because G-Con is November 4.
Yep.
Saturday, November 5, I believe there is Crown Jewel of Resi, so I can't. Maybe November 12, I can do a show for that. And maybe got other guests. Maybe you can come back with other guests. Let's see which guest can I got for that.
You can get Eric by then.
Eric, should be cool, Eric. For Eric, I won't do an interview like I mentioned before. Focus especially for the creation of the character, the storytelling.
Yeah.
Because as a writer, I consider Eric as a writer too.
Oh, he
But
definitely is. Yeah.
exactly. So he's a writer that use not only words but only design. You know, is another way also to create. I like drawing. Honestly, when I was a kid, the teachers of art told me you need to do a school of art. You're really good. He put me to do the. There we go. What is the word to describe when you go? You do a portrait of someone,
Yep.
but it's not a really portrait. You in this portrait, you
A caricature.
caricature. Wow, it's the same in Italian. Italian is caricatura, a caricature, exactly. It's so similar.
You should just say the Italian word. Maybe we'll get it next time.
Because I was tempted. The temptation was to say caricature, just to change a little bit, give the pronunciation in English. No,
Yeah.
caricature, microscope, it looks similar. Like, for example, sometimes I discovered that many words are similar. I don't know why, because they are different. I believe the genesis of English and in Italian are different. Maybe Italian are more close with Spanish, Latin language, I believe.
Right. Well, it's funny because when
French-
you held up your books, your novels, some of those words, there was no way I'd be able to tell what they were. But then when we keep doing these words that we're figuring out, some of them are very similar. It's strange. Some of them are completely not similar at all, but some of them are.
Yes. For example, we talked before my first novel, The Tenant, in
Yeah.
Italian is a totally different because tenant in Italian is inquilino. So it's a
Yeah.
totally
Completely different. There'd be no way to figure that out.
Exactly. But sometimes they are so close, like now caricature. So my teachers put me to do the caricature.
Nice.
And now I start to do some shorts right here on this channel just because I have a free time. No, I'm not busy enough to do also that. I do some short in 50 seconds. I draw in some Marvel characters, some stuff in 50 seconds. I do this video just for fun because I like drawing.
Is that on the same channel, or do you have a whole separate channel
the
for
same
that?
channel, the same
Okay.
channel. Because in the shorts I put everything. I play something of piano. I draw in something. Yesterday, because my girlfriend is super good to cooking. She's her food that he makes are super delicious. No, and my
Sure.
favorite food is lasagna in Italian food.
Nice.
Is a type of pasta. I don't know what is the name of is. You call lasagna also in English? I don't know.
Oh yeah, lasagna's lasagna.
Okay, exactly. So and she's really good to do lasagna. So I do a short video with her that do the lasagna. No, I put everything. Also something more. If you know more in Mr. Alan behind the character, you need to watch these 50-second shorts that I put every day. So
I like that.
I draw in, I play piano. Sometimes I just do a little video of my fireplace because this house is in 3 floors. I need to count the floor of my house. That means I terrible with numbers.
How
And
many
I
videos
have,
do you post a day?
Yes. Today I post every day. I post this short.
Do you
video.
post one a day or multiple videos a day?
Multiple. A guy like me that publish over 4,000 videos one of day is not enough to me. I need to put 5, 6.
This is insane.
Yes. Today, for example, when my girlfriend wake up, says, I have only one word, because now I'm a little bit obsessed with this idea to do shorts. It's a challenge. Do a draw in 50 seconds. Do something only in 50 seconds. It's a challenge. I like the challenge. And she told me, I have only one word in my mind, shorts, because now you talk only about that. I do the shorts.
I mean, she's right. You are kind of insane.
Yes, because I'm a guy. Because when I discover something new, I become a little bit obsessed with that. I want to do over and over and over because it's like that. But maybe because I'm a musician.
You
For
think
example,
you think the guy that built a 5-foot chess set is obsessive? Nah.
all over 5 foot, all
Oh
close
yeah, sorry, over 5 foot.
5 foot and 11 inches wide.
That's almost 6 feet.
Exactly. I did a video. It was my myth because my first Mythic Legion secret project was the chess game. My second one was the Mythic Legion song with Shartimus Prime and special appearance with Jeremy and Dennis Derby.
Yep, I remember that.
And now I have another secret project I can't reveal now because one, but if you watch the shorts, there is only one shorts that was a teaser of this project. It's something huge. I like something huge. It's huge, a big time consuming, and it's also something that I never did before. First time ever they do something. And when I started this project, my first thought was, I will be able to do this stuff because I start to purchase many things to do that. I spent a lot of money to do that. And I never did that before. It was something that in general, I thought I was unable to do that. It's not for me. But during the work in progress, I discovered I'd be able to do that. Still a secret, but if you scroll on my shorts, you can find something, a teaser, just a teaser. So the
Can-
Mythic Secret project maybe will take 1 year to finish because it's really
wow.
big, a big project.
Can you play the Mythic Legion song? Can you play the
Yes,
video for that?
absolutely. The refrain, maybe. Got your legions when you find your factions, you find emotion in a magic war. In a mythic land, in a mythic space, in a mythic life, in a mythic song. You can be a knight, you can be an elf, you can be a dwarf, you can be an ogre, or even a skeleton, a demon. You find your legions when you got your factions. You find emotions into magic war.
Yes. I love
And
it.
I told you a backstage story about this song. Because I have
Amazing.
enough time to do everything, I wrote a song during my work as a YouTuber. So when I edit the videos, the toy news, I listen to the music they did and start to write in my mind the line for the voice or the lyrics. So I do two stuff in the same time. Create a toy news at the same time, and listen the song and writing the song in my mind.
I tell you, man, you do so much. It's just blowing me away. I don't even understand it.
Yes, I'm like a volcano, no? With every too much
You really
stuff.
are. I mean, the amount of stuff that you've done in your life is more than most people will ever accomplish. I mean, and the
And
fact
yes,
that you can
because
write
I
music
focus
is
on my heart. In the beginning was the music. Actually, in the beginning was drawing, but later, when it was, I remember the first time that I go on stage, I was about 13 years old.
wow.
And when you go on stage, you feel it because it looks like that. When you are not on the stage, you feel a little bit invisible. When you go on the stage, you become the center of the world because everybody watch you. Everybody feel what you mean. It was a magic moment. I remember I was the winner a little contest for kids, and that was magic. And only, I believe, 3 years later, my father understand that I was excited about music. And he gave me electronic keyboards, and I
Wow.
started to play that. And then the piano was enough to me. I started to learn how to use Pro Tools and digital pre-production program. So MIDI is you connect the computer with the software.
Yep.
Different Logic is a name, Cake, or different type of software. You play a keyboard, and there is like a library of instrument digitally. And if you play, for example, that, you can play the same music and notes with the music with the strings or synth, or you can play drums with keyboards.
Right.
So I learned that, and then because wasn't enough, I started to study guitar with my brother and violin. And the violin is a cruel instrument because there's no line on the violin. So you need to find the tone is really difficult, the violin. So for a while I studied. The reason why I a little bit obsessed when I like something, because as a musician you need to repeat over and over to learn a song, to learn to read the notes with the instruments.
What was the contest when you were 13? Was it a songwriting thing, or was it like
No, it was just a singing something.
That's amazing. Do you remember what you sang?
I sing a song of the Vanilla Ice, a rap music song. Ice, ice, baby.
No way. Are you serious?
Yes, exactly. I won the contest with that because I was a fan of rap music of the 80s.
Yeah.
I like at the time the Fat Boys. Do you remember the Fat Boys?
Oh yeah. Oh, I know Fat Boys, definitely.
They did also some movies. I remember the movie with Ralph Bellamy, Crash Groove, and the other one when they were
orderlies at a hospital.
Exactly, that one especially.
Yep.
So
are we the same? Are we around the same age then? You and I probably. I was born in 75.
No, a little bit later, few years later.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we were into the same things as we were kids, for sure.
Yes, I like that. Also, maybe we love also this type of music, type of movie. I like, for example, my favorite director are David Lynch,
okay,
Tim Burton, Martin Scorsese, Brian De Palma, the Coen brother.
Oh yeah.
I like also Woody Allen, not all, but something. So this is my favorite actor, Al Pacino. I love Al Pacino. He's nice. I like also the comedy stuff. My favorite comedian, number one is Dan Aykroyd. I like John Candy, Bill Murray, Chevy Chase.
Yeah.
This comedy movie are my favorite.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And every Christmas, and maybe my girlfriend ate me a little bit, the day before Christmas, I watch Scrooge with Bill Murray, and every 25 December every year I watch National Lampoon Vacation, Christmas Vacation with Chevy Chase. It's like a rules to me. Can be a Christmas without Chevy Chase with the National Christmas Lampoon Vacation and Christmas Lampoon Vacation, and also Christmas Vacation, and also the movie with Bill Murray and the day before with Scrooge.
That's awesome. That's a good lineup right there. I'm with you.
So I like this type of. I like Jim Belushi. I like Rick Moranis, Steve Martin, John Goodman. This type of movie.
You're right on it. I'm with you on all this stuff. This is amazing. I love that you were singing Ice Ice Baby, dude. That's I can sing. I'll sing that one along with you.
Yes, I like also the time. I remember speaking of rap music, the PM Down.
All right.
They were good because they are not only rap, only a mix of soul.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the singer, the big guy, Prince, I don't remember the name, passed away really young, a few years ago. Also, the Fat Boys, two of the Fat Boys are gone. Only one still alive, slim today, in good shape, but the other two passed away. Yes. Darren Robinson, the shorter but the bigger, passed away 28 years old, was over 500 pounds.
Oh my
Super,
gosh.
too much. Yes. Like you remember in wrestling Yokozuna, the sumo
Yep.
gimmick.
Yeah.
He was in the end of his career 666 pounds.
Holy cow.
Mm.
I got here's a Yokozuna story for you. When I was younger in high school, a friend of mine and we went to wrestling, and we went to the live, we went to a live WWF event, and on the way home we stopped at a Denny's. Denny's is a restaurant. It's like a restaurant chain diner here.
Okay.
Like garbage. It's like a garbage diner. And we were eating our food. It was after the wrestling event, and all of a sudden, it had to be 6 to 8 wrestlers walked into the restaurant after they were on their way to the next city or whatever. They stopped at the restaurant to get some food before they leave, and Yokozuna was one of the guys. Do you remember the guy? Do you remember Dink and Doink? Who was like a little clown?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I
The
have also
little
the
clown.
figure.
So Yokozuna, the biggest dude, and then the little clown guy walks in, not in a
Dink,
clown outfit or anything, just as a guy. So they all sit down at the table. There's the whole, like, all of them eating together, and Yokozuna is so big. They had to find chairs without arms on them, and then they had to bring over 2 chairs without arms, and he had to sit on 2 chairs together to fit at their table. It was amazing. And my friend and I, just after having just watched all these guys, we're like, that guy's supposed to hate that guy. Like, and they're all sitting together. Like, what's going on? Like, it was odd. Like, we loved it.
For example, in the 80s was prohibited by Vince McMahon that the heels travel together with the babyface. Was prohibited by the director. In the 80s, they respect also the faction also outside the scene in the 80s.
Yeah.
Was a rule at the time. Only later broke the rule after in the after show. Only later. I remember also, and I heard many, because I watched some wrestling podcast, especially that one with Bruce Pritchard and Conran Thompson, that talks many backside story, behind the scenes story.
Nice.
Also, and the Giants have many problems to travel on the plane because it was too big, too tall. When you are really big like that, well, in my opinion, speaking of Giants, Andre is an icon. No one can be like Andre today. There is a new Giants now in the WWE, Omos. He's a 7'3" tall, really big, a black guy. I like it. But for example, when Vince was in charge, the WWE gave a big push for these Giants. But now with Triple H, destroy everything. Speaking of storyline,
you probably have to pull the tag out. Hold on, I'm gonna grab a figure to show you real quick.
Yeah.
I totally forgot I had this hanging on the wall.
Wow. Cool. Well, which line is this one? I never saw before this, Andre.
It's a complete custom.
Cool. You use for the head is a complete new head, or use some?
No, he probably the guy who made this probably found. It's probably an old figure.
It looks like a little bit. I show you. I have a pictures, obviously. The Andre Asbro is similar.
It's probably that figure, I would imagine, and he just probably repainted it.
If I find it. Andre, where is, because he has a long list right here.
I never even
Where is Andre? Andre, there we go. I found it. A few moments. It looks like similar. Let's see if the same. Now is like in my review is Mr. Alan Supersize comparison. Here we go. This is my Andre Asbro original.
Yeah, no, that's it. That's the exact figure, but he sculpted a T-shirt on it and pants. He put a T-shirt and pants on it.
WWE. So you can see just a sneak peek of my other figure. This is a custom of Aldo Montoya.
Nice
Figures of the '94. This one is an original Akin. Do you remember Akin? The
Oh yeah, I
African?
remember that guy.
He's still alive. He's a giant, still alive. Was a 6 foot. Because for many of them, I know the stats. I know the weight and the height. Akim was 6'9", 457 pounds.
How do you remember all this?
Yes, this one, Ahmed Johnson. Ahmed Johnson, remember, not maybe 305 pounds, 6'4", maybe.
Wow.
This is Afa, the Wild Samoans
Yep,
custom.
I remember that guy.
He's a member of the Anoa'i family, the same family of Roman Reigns, the same family, because The Rock actually is the son of the daughter of, this is Adrian Adonis. Do you remember Adrian Adonis?
Yeah, yep.
Custom figure, this one. This one is a serious Adam Bomb. It was an official Hasbro at the time. This is Abe Knuckleball Schwartz. It's on a deep cut, this one.
I don't know that one at all. That's a great one, though. I love that.
The guy that play this character is the same that play, for example, the Brooklyn Blower, is Steve Lombardi.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I played Doink for a while also. This one was 1-2-3 Kid. It become X-Pac later. But there is a lot. Maybe I show you other later because now I need to go in the other way like that. This one, I saw that you share a picture of this character in your Instagram because today I did in my
dive.
little free time I scroll a little bit your Instagram. I think you know this guy, a Hasbro custom of drum roll, George
yeah.
the Animal Steel.
That's awesome. Yeah, he was always a favorite of mine growing up.
Yes, he's not. He's passed away. Do you know that in real life he was also a teacher?
Yeah, I did. I did know that.
He's a legend himself.
I still
The
have.
fur is the only design drawing, not because there was at the time the option we need to do a flocked or not. I don't know if I do the right decision, but at the time I was not really for the fur. But maybe I
You know what though? No, I like that better. I like the way that looks.
looks good in my opinion.
I like it a lot. I actually
This
saw
is-
him wrestle when I was a kid, and I got the.
Wow.
Do you remember he had that? There was his little stuffed animal called Mine.
Yes, I
Like
remember.
so, I still have mine. It's like it's probably about that big. I bought it at the wrestling match where I saw him wrestle. I still have my little Mine doll. I love that thing. The
was
little
in
bald head and the little green
1986,
tongue.
1987, close to those years was at the time that he had
That
because
probably would've been right.
because he was in the WWE also when he was called WWF in the 70s as a heel. At that time, his manager was also Captain Walt Bannon, but also Freddie Blassie later. And then he became an agent, and also he come back on the show in the 80s with the puppets, the toys that you mentioned.
Yep, the Mine doll.
The doll. There is also, if you want, I give you just a sneak peek in other customs I have. No, this one is not a custom.
Yes.
Animal was this is official LOD animal of the Legion of Doom.
Yep.
This is Gene the Anvil Nider, another official figure. Gene the Anvil is another. Many guys, both of these guys are passed away. This is a sad side of wrestling of the 80s.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of those guys apparently are not around anymore. Like
they were like a rock star. So steroids, drugs, everything. They do everything in their life. So. This
the
one
80s was a rough
custom.
time for that.
This other one that it was also a LJN version of this figure. Is a Ted Arcidi, the world's strongest man.
Wow.
And also the LJN, this figure. Back in the day of LJN.
Pink Nikes, like pink Nike swoosh on there.
Was the 80s. Do you remember Ted Arcidi?
I don't know that one now.
In LJN line was this character as another custom. This is a Gallop figure of R. Anderson, not Hasbro, but I figured that was good, fit very well. But the list is really good. This Demolition, The throwback. This is
That's a good
Demolition
one.
X. This is custom of B. Brian Blair of the Killer Bees. And this guy became also a politician later on in his career.
Really?
He also, maybe you know that Jesse the Body Ventura was a governor also.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And Jesse was good also as a. I think the big talent of Jesse Ventura wasn't as a wrestler in the ring. Was good on the mic, really good.
Yeah.
Really good on the mic. It was his big skill of Jesse was on the mic.
I mean, that's probably how he became governor, I would imagine.
Exactly,
you got to be a good talker to do that job.
Exactly.
I mean, the best thing he's done, though, come on, we all got to agree, is Predator. Come on.
Predator, yes. And remember also when these are comments that I want.
Was he in that?
Should be super cool. Puppy Plex, that one. I have a Mythic Legions figure inspired for me. But I think the top hat don't fit with the line. The top hat.
Yeah, that would stand out a little weird.
A little bit weird. You need to find out a way to do something mythic that remind a little bit the top hat, but it's not a top hat. It's a big challenge. A wizard, maybe a wizard in some way.
There's got to be some kind of armor that could be created that looks like a top hat. I think it would work. Somebody out there can do a custom of this.
Or maybe a wizard can work a little bit because the shape obviously is like that. Man, we are crossed the record of my show. We are close to 3 hours. We are 2 hours and 55 minutes, man.
That's all I wanted to do. I wanted to break a record on this show. Amazing.
So when you need to go, ring the bell like in the ring. No problem.
Well, it's almost midnight. We do have to get up tomorrow. So we could call it if you want to call it, but I'll come back anytime you want to still chat about other stuff. I'll be around.
Okay. Maybe you can come back we can do an episode because you gave me this idea. I think it's a cool idea, and with a member of the studio should be cool. Do an episode because when after the reveal, maybe you can tell me some behind the scene. You and maybe other guys. Let's see.
Yeah, that'd be fun. We'd have to have Chris on at the same time because then he can tell us what we're allowed to say and what we can't.
Yes. No. Maybe you and I don't know. I need to figure out which, or maybe some customizer also together could be also nice. Let's see. November 15 is the week later. No, yes, is the week later. Let's see. No, I watch October. Sorry. Okay, Saturday, November 12 could be a good post Necronominus show if it works for you.
I mean, I don't know what I'm doing at all, so let's figure. Let's keep in touch and we'll figure it out, though.
Yes, let's see when we are more close to understand better. Okay, so now it's time for the outro of the show.
All right,
let's do it. Also, because where I live is almost 6 a.m. Remember?
Oh, geez.
To me, it's
time for you to go to bed too.
Probably later I will because I have the review to complete. Maybe I will work another hour probably later. Okay, there we go. Today in this show we discover that the man the eighth fan in reality is a super fun guy. He loves the same comedy actor like me. He loves the same movie director. He's a super cool guy, and his name is George. So thank you, George, to join with me. And guys, don't forget, next week, Mythic Legion's party to celebrate over 2,200,000 views on the channel. Thank you, George, again.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. A lot of fun. We break the record. 3 hours of show, never happened before. So now will be hard for another one beat your records now.
No one's gonna beat it. If they do, I'm coming back.
That's right. So guys, thanks for watching. Bye. Bye to all of you, my friends. Good